I'm recording. I allowed Sid to record, and yeah.
I am now recording. Don't know why I said that like a robot. Dim, the birthday message was sublime, and Sid's response to it just was like the
Honestly,
icing on the cake.
I don't know what it was. It really tickled me for a long time.
I didn't. What?
Have you
What was
missed
on
it
about?
on the WhatsApp?
Somebody put a birthday. Everyone was sort of saying happy birthday and that on the community.
Oh yeah.
Somebody put like perfect happy birthday.
Perfect line. It
Yeah.
just went, this birthday was shit. They ruined it. And I screenshotted it, circled it, and sent it to you like, in the WhatsApp group. And Sid's response was just a voice message of him absolutely pissing himself. And then I'm listening to it and I'm pissing myself because of the infectious laugh, and I can totally see why it tickled him. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I didn't even.
I think it was only yesterday or so.
Yeah, it was last night, mate. It was last night.
It was just one of those ones
right before I went to bed as well. I slept with a big smile on my face.
You die down and stop laughing, and you just go. You're off again.
And you have to read it in voice as well, don't you?
I mean, to be honest, it was a shit birthday because I worked it. So
yeah, I've got mates who take my birthday off this year. You're in your 40s, you prick.
Chicken of Darkness. Chicken of Darkness commented,
Chicken of Darkness. Yeah.
This birthday was shit. They completely ruined it. But listen, dear me ago, this is Sid's response.
They've absolutely nailed that there. That's wicked. Oh, yeah, I hope you had a good one, no, mate.
I mean,
it went on for a long time before and after, to be fair.
I wanna argue against the facts, but the facts are the facts.
Warbosses of Da ApORKalypse! Ladies and gentlemen, the Warbosses of Da ApORKalypse.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Warboss Show. Joining myself on this one, we have the Hobby Git, aka Birthday Boy. Just the other day anyway. Down below me is the Drunken Ork. And over in the other corner, in the Battletech bunker, is Skarner.
What's the crack?
So today we are going to talk to you about just a few of our favourite units in game terms, how they play on the table. And yeah, we're just going to look at a few data sheets and talk about some of our favourite units. And we would love you guys to get involved in the live chat on the Premiere or chat in the comments and just share whatever your favourite units are and tell us why the ones we've chosen are shit and we're stupid and we're wrong and we know nothing about orcs.
For the record, I should also note that I have picked some data sheets.
He has. He stole half of mine, or tried to.
Yeah, and I wouldn't go so far as to call them favourites.
The ones that cause you the least misery.
Yes.
There you go. That's high praise indeed.
Is Christmas over, is it?
Yes, it fucking is.
So let's kick this off straight away. Let's get into it. Where should we start? Let's start with Sid. Give us your first favourite unit.
Right, well, this is one that I've actually, one of the few that I've actually used in 10th. a lot of this is going to be theoretical, I think. And a lot of it's going to be down to just choice. But this one I've used, I was very impressed with, and it was a unit of boys. Unit of 20 boys, led with a weird boy, and, as it's possible, if we're only 65 points quite a steal, a Warboss, which obviously you have to have a Warboss, so that build-up was unnecessary, since it's obvious. But yeah, that unit of 22 was superb. They've done really, really well, and plus I think it's quite a, it was quite a nice unit, a throwback to the Green Tide, or at least a green ripple, not quite 30. Sorry, Scott, but started them off in turn 1. I went first, right in the back in the corner, just because I had to keep them out the road because it was a big unit of 20. And on the first turn, they jumped them straight into the centre board. The weird boy, after he'd done that, then got off Headbanger and literally sniped, fucking killed in one shot the Primaris Lieutenant and the unit Hellblasters, and then made a 9-inch charge and just absolutely tore them apart. It was, I mean, I only expected them to be there as a bit of a distraction, but they performed superb. They performed at 20 boys would perform with the Warboss in there, chopping up Marines. I mean, we're not going to what happened to them with turn after. Right? It's just stood there in front of, Deff Dreads and tanks and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's quite a reasonably priced unit as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick. I think, although you've kind of cheated. We said we'd pick 3 data cards each. I didn't know Sid was going to blow all 3 of his in one pick.
I haven't mentioned the support yet. And they were supported by a number of...
It's a unit, not a fucking army list.
No, but that to me that's a unit. Hey, that is a unit, and all of those, they'll perform differently on their own, the characters, but in amongst those boys, wicked.
And it's good that you've done it like that, because it is actually showing off one of the key strengths that the boys have over every other unit, is that they can have 2 characters join the unit to gain from 2 sets of buffs. But one of them has to be a Warboss, doesn't it?
Well, that Warboss is giving you the +1 to hit, so it's a combat buff, which is what you want really if you're going to get stuck in with the boys. And he's obviously a meat grinder on his own anyway, especially in the turn of the war. But the second character is the key one. The weird boy gives you the jump is obviously the main one for just the maneuverability. Don't worry about putting 20 boys in a wagon or trucks or anything like that. Just jump them where you want them. If you want survivability, go with a mech with a KFF or possibly even a pain boy. They're both the good shouts. You've got a lot of options of what you can put in there, and it changes the whole feel of that unit. Whether they're just going to be sort of like grinding up the table and just saying, "No, you're not shifting us," or whether you're just going to be like with the weird boy, a shock unit that just gets in, takes out whatever it's put up against, literally anything except certain things, and then then has to be dealt with. Because even when they were dealt with over the next turn, there was a lot of the rest of my army wasn't being dealt with, so they did do the job I meant them to strike, with the added bonus of they made a charge I wasn't really banking on and caused merry hell. So yeah, I think there's still a lot of time for the boys.
Yeah, I think they're awesome. And it's slightly off topic, I guess. Well, not really, but I'll just say how amazing it is that we got rid of, for the most part, aura abilities, and we've gone back to having characters join units, because it's so much fun playing around with that. And I know there are some restrictions on certain characters can join certain units and that, but with the ones that do have that choice in that, it's make list building quite fun, because like you say, what you plug into a unit does completely change its kind of output with a lot of the different units. And with the boys being able to have 2 and go, well, I've got the fighty buff from the Warboss, but do I want to, like say, do I want to make them protective, being able to take more hits? Do I want them to be able to jump back up from the dead, or do I want them to be able to zip across the table?
You don't even need to put the Warboss in, and if you are going to sort of just use them as a kind of hold a location and stick back, and then by stick back, I mean hold back as much as orcs do, which is don't advance as quickly. Don't need to put the Warboss in. You don't even have to go with 20. You could just go for a 10 if you just go do that.
If you're just going to use them for grabbing objectives, yeah.
Yeah, that's still going to take some focus to get rid of. They're not unkillable, obviously, but you know they'll need to commit to doing it.
Yeah,
depending on what they're using, of course.
No, I think they're awesome. I would say though, from my experiences of using, because I've only used shooter boys, the slugger chopper boys is definitely the way to go. There's just no, if you're not doing it for, if you're just doing it for fluff reasons, it's a theme of your army, or that's all you got painted or whatever, like me. There's just no point using shooter boys at the moment.
Not. I agree. At the minute, we're 10th with the way that we've essentially got the goth. What we're thinking of as the goth list, what I tribe or whatever, but it's the goth list, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You've got. Oh, let's face it. You're not going to shock anybody by saying standard boys better at crumping, worse at shooting. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
So if you've got the option of boosting one of the things that they're good at, or not, yeah.
Yeah, there's not really. You could stick a big mech in there to get the re-rolls of 1, but it's no AP, strength 4, 1 damage. Yeah. They can't hit for shit.
Not even a good range, really.
No, they're just not. They're just not good. But the chopper, you're getting an extra attack and a -1 AP, and you've got the pistol that you can shoot in combat, and it's just so much better.
I mean, remember how much joy there was? I think was there a ticker tape parade in Nottingham when they brought around the -1 AP for the chopper in 9th. I think it lasted all of that Tuesday afternoon before they then went Armor of Contempt, AP, and just like oh fucking hell, that was short lived. But it did. There was a definite joyous feeling when the
mate. Think of me. I was a bad moon. They pretty much nullified my entire fucking army trait.
Yeah.
When I go and get Armor of Contempt, like, I get -1. Not against us, you don't. Oh, all right.
Luckily that's gone.
Yeah.
It's a payable CP for them now. Sorry, a CP payable strat for them now, but only to 1 unit. So,
how much points is a unit of boys?
Unit of boys is, I believe, 80 points. I'm just yes. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. 85. 85
is that for 10?
That's for 10.
Yeah.
And you get in there a knob with whatever you want. I mean, I still think Power Claws are the go-to. And you'll get also a rocket.
Oh, the big choppers.
Big shooter, yeah. The big
choppers, chopper. I was saying, yeah, I like the big chopper.
I mean, look, it's
big chopper wouldn't make sense if you still had initiative. I think without it,
you do hit better with a big chopper.
You've got a better ballistic skill.
Big chopper hits on 3s. Power Claw hits on 4s. They've got the same damage. Both got damage 2. Power Claw is 2 AP. Big chopper is just a -1, and I think the Power Claw's strength 9. As big chopper's strength 7. Against most things, high toughness infantry, it's not going to make much difference. Against low toughness infantry, Power Claw will be 2s as opposed to 3s, and that AP is a bit of a bonus. It's personal choice. I suppose the only way they can do it is to get all the options. You lose a bit, you gain a bit.
I like a little bit of mix. I like to use both different squads.
I generally use it with whatever I've modelled them with.
Yeah. I think big choppers look cool as well. I think they look cool.
They do.
They look awesome.
But you do your rocket launcher as well, so you can fire that around.
I've started using that in my boys' squads because, again, big shooters at the moment with no kind of shooting buffs, they just never do anything. They never do anything.
It's a great use of my tank busters. I'd put them in my units of boys and go.
That's the same here. Well, you've got a purpose. I can use one of you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I wasn't going to go next, but I will go next because you kind of mentioned him in part of your pick. The Warboss for me.
Yeah.
He comes in at 65 points, which I think is very good. And during 8th edition and 9th edition, I always felt, especially in 8th, that the Warboss was just not good. It wasn't where he should be. He just never seemed to do much. And you face him off against another character from another faction, and they were just so much better. And he was just way too squishy. And you'd see like the amount of attacks, and you were like, well, that's not he's a fucking war boss. He should be. I don't mind that he's a glass hammer because hasn't got the heavy armor and power armor or Terminator armor or whatever. But he should hit like a sledgehammer. And now he does significantly during the war. Gets a fuckload of attacks during a war, and it's quite beautiful. And the buffs that he gives the unit he joins. So obviously we've already said he can join Boyz, but he can also join a unit of knobs. So a war boss of a unit of knobs all tooled up however you want is going to be a nice fighty prospect.
But he's given them all them power claws +1 to hit as well, isn't he?
Exactly. I mean, yeah, because he gets during a war, all units get like an extra attack, but he adds 4 attacks during the war. Yeah. And he's already, well, how many attacks does he already have? It's well, it depends on the weapon, but if he's got 4 attacks with a power claw or 5 with a big chopper, so you get a lot of attacks, and they're good attacks. And yeah, he's just, I think they've really nailed the war boss actually, and he's, for the first time in quite a while, he's better than the war boss in Mega Armor. He gives better buffs, and he's just a better, more cost-efficient unit now. I think he's just almost an auto include, especially if you're going melee. A war boss is almost an auto include.
Won't take 1.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
I mean, obviously, he's a good. If you've got a unit of 20 boys, I think he's a good one to chuck in.
Yeah. I think the only downside of him now is the same with every unit that's got this weapon. You now don't get to have a combi rocket or a combi scorcher. You have to have a combi weapon, and it's just a bit shit. But you're never really that fussed about a war boss shooting, really. Anyway, it's just a little bonus, wasn't it?
It was a bonus to fire off a few rockets.
Yeah, might get a lucky hit and do something, but you're really looking for it. Yeah, combi weapons, just not much cop. But yeah, he gets 6 wounds, 4+ save. He's got a built-in 5+ invuln save. And yeah, using him with a unit of Boyz is probably the way I would most often go. And a unit of 20 Boyz with a war boss and another character is just a lovely, lovely combo. But yeah, the war boss was in a shit place for a long time. So just because of how much better he is now, that's why I've put him in the list. And war boss should be good. It's like build your army around your boss, don't you? He's the boss. He's got to be good.
Yeah.
Well, Dim.
Yeah.
Let's give us your first pick then. Come on, since you're so vocal.
I think I'll give a mention to Grot tanks. Not Grot mega tanks. My love affair with Grot mega tanks has ended.
Yeah, we're not talking about them though. What's so good about the Grot tanks, Dim?
They're one of the few things in the game that has an interesting rule. So I think we'll start there. They're just quite flexible. They're a flexible gun platform. They're finally starting to figure out a way to make Grot tanks work. It's been an odd kind of dance that 40k has had for quite a while. Of basically, you get the alternating, which is better, is it cans, is it Grot tanks. I've always very much been on the side of Grot tanks, even in editions where cans have been quite ridiculously good. Like they were quite good in 7th. And Grot tanks have always been decent because they're nice and cheap and they've got the gun bit. And the reason you're taking a Grot unit is because Grots are slightly better at shooting than Orks. If you're not talking about the big guns kit anyway.
I think we should just say to the audience we're not really going to talk about our favourite units, but the big guns kit has got clear errors on it, and we would recommend anyone at home, if you are using the big guns, just tip X over it because they've got it wrong. They think it's armed by Orks because they've given it a 6+ ballistic skill and a 3+ weapon skill. They've not got it right. Yeah,
I just think they don't want people to use it. I think that's the bottom line.
I just think I think it's a clear error.
Although
they just
probably is an error. We'll get to why.
But they won't FAQ it because it's legend.
They wouldn't put it in.
You have to FAQ it yourself, people.
When I first heard about it, I thought they'd done it deliberately, but having read the entirety of the Legends, there's actually quite a few units in there that are probably quite surprisingly good, really, which they didn't need to be.
Yeah, well, this won't be the last Legends unit mentioned tonight, will it?
No. In fact, I don't know how many I'm going to mention, but I've thought of another one that I could mention, but we'll worry about that later. But yeah, the Grot tanks. Yeah, I just think the can/Grot tank loadout is still a very good selection of weapon choices. Big shooter. Big shooter suggests itself a little less these days. Back when all of the guns had different points costs, the big shooter made a nice amount of sense because, especially in the last edition where it was free, you could take a Grot Mega Tank with 7 of them, and it was just flat cost. Great, wonderful, and that's a whole lot of diddly. That's a lot of dice you're rolling to shoot. Did I mention the Grot Mega Tank shit now? Well, I think I'll mention it again. It's shit now. And the various profiles, they've all got their own uses. I would probably like to, well, I would quite be tempted to endorse Scorchers on Grot tanks. I think there's a better use of Bernie things in the Ork range. I'll get to that later. But I think they are quite good. They're kind of wasted on cans. I don't know why you would take them on cans.
I think it's just a waste of the Grot ballistic skill to give it an auto hit weapon. I'm like, ooh, I want that +1 to hit, essentially. That's my opinion on it.
I am with you on that, but I think because cans have the claw as well, Scorcher and claw in volume, multiple.
But
they're also nice up close.
You're wasting the rule that they've got though.
You are, yeah.
Because the Scorcher already has ignores cover.
Yes.
Which,
Well, we've seen Scorcher more as a weapon that you'd give your dreads.
Yeah,
it makes much more sense for a Deff Dread. It makes way more sense for a Deff Dread.
But again, anything you give a Deff Dread is taken away from its.
Yeah.
But it's lovely to have the option. It's lovely to have the option.
Yeah, but it's also you don't go too crazy. You give it one Scorcher, and then the rest are all arms for kicking.
The question I always ask myself whenever I'm talking about like what I like to call the killer can weapon units. So it's like basically Grot tanks, Grot Mega Tanks, and killer cans that all have the same options. You've got to think long and hard about whether or not you're not just going to take rockets because they're just really good. I know they've taken a bit of a hit this edition because of what they've done with tanks and things, but I still think a rocket is a very solid choice.
Is there not an argument to be said for the Grotsuga?
No, I don't think so. Unless they've done something to it since I last checked it.
They've got another advantage as well, is that they've actually got more options in terms of guns than the cans because they have the option the cans used to have, the custom Mega Blaster.
Yeah, cans haven't had the KNB for a while, have they?
Good few additions now.
Yeah, I think that's a shame because they should have it, and they have got slightly better. That's a shooter, by the way. The can shooter's different to a big shooter now, and it's probably a bit.
Oh, that's true, actually. Yeah, the can shooters are pretty tasty, actually.
So they've moved away, slightly away from the Grot tank and Mega tank weapon loadouts, slightly. Not much.
Yeah, the KMB is a great choice because it's a bit stupid. It's a bit self-destructive, but it's definitely an option.
That's just a plus, though, isn't it?
I to be honest, I think it makes more sense on a Grot Mega Tank when the Grot Mega Tank was not shit. Which now I will reiterate, the Grot Mega Tank is shit.
Well, you used that very loadout, didn't you, on me in the big battle?
Yeah,
and, but it was a great source of joy for me when I finally killed that thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just
it was a big threat. All my Deff Dreads and cans were shitting themselves.
If it only had 2 of them.
7 KMBs when you're running a dread mob is pretty terrifying. Like whatever that thing looks at,
7D3 shots it was.
Yeah,
actually hitting on 4s.
Fucking what was it? Was it D6 damage back then? Yeah. I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, that's a lot of wounds coming in.
And you were wounding on 3s then as well.
Yeah.
Your save wasn't as good.
And
Yeah.
it can potentially kill itself, so it was balanced. Whereas now I feel like, yeah. And don't get me started on Twin Linked. I'm not going to take up the entire today shitting on how stupid Twin Linked is.
Well, the good news is you don't need to, because none of their guns are twin linked.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing I wanted to talk about was the rule that the Grot tanks have got. So, I mean, they're just. I've always loved Grot tanks because Grot tanks have a feature that people don't talk about. Because, like, one of the great things about Grot units is that because they're grotty, will follow me for a moment. They've got advantages that are inherent to not just the stats that they've got, because this is a game with mages, right? And Grot mages are small, so you can take a squad of Grot tanks that doesn't take up a huge amount of space, and you can take medium terrain pieces, like say, just for argument's sake, picking something out the top of my hat, one of those scrap mounds that you get from the Speed Freaks board game or the Mech's Garage kit that they came in, and you could take one of those, and you could probably quite convincingly hide the entire squad behind that terrain piece. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to see them. If you're playing with like city fight stuff or like buildings and stuff like that, it's very easy to hide Grot tanks, and they just pop out of cover and just go dagger, 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 dagger. And now that we've got this really quirky rule where they've got an ability to move after when enemies get close to them, they can just pop back into cover in your opponent's turn, and they go, "Oh well, fuck you." It's just nice and fun. It's fluffy,
a beautiful
and
way. Yeah, it's a beautiful way to show the sort of Grot cowardice and stuff, and work it in a way that benefits you. Being able to move like back 6 inches when they declare a charge.
It does ironically mean that like Grot tanks are probably the only line breaker unit in the game that has a proper line breaker rule. Whereas like the Ork buggies, like not the Legends ones, but like all of named ones, are in essence line breakers, but to a very large extent, most of them don't really do that role very well. Partly because they're on a stupid oval base, but also just because they are like they don't really have any way to really do it. The game doesn't really allow for it, even though you've got the archetype there that you would have these vehicles and you basically just break through lines and cause harassment in the back. I mean, there are some units that do it, and we'll talk about some of those today. But like this is kind of the bits about 10th that I like, is these little tactical rules that come along and they give you a tactical option. Now, I don't think there's enough of them, and I think that they're not actually that great, but, kind of a little bit of Stockholm syndrome for me. It's just like, oh, well, at least there's that, Chlamydia, the best of the sexually transmitted diseases.
Right,
yeah. So
the scatter rule there, it's you can't move if you get charged.
Mm-hmm.
But you can move if an enemy unit ends a normal move, an advanced move, or a fallback move within 9 inches of you. So don't wait for the charge.
You are
as soon
right.
as you get as long as they move after an advance and move, or even falling back out of something else, if they end within 9 inches, you can then move 6 inches in any direction.
Yeah.
So
cool.
It's a good way if they are coming for you, because normally, obviously, if they were going to charge you, they would move towards you first. That's a little secret.
Also,
you might move out of the range so they can't even declare a charge, because 6 inches.
You could move out of range. You could just. It is up to 6 inches. You can even sort of herd them, draw them into places where they might not necessarily want to be.
Yeah,
lanes of fire or within range of something else that you've got lurking. But yeah, it is a fantastic rule.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not, because part of my thought is that any unit with movement shenanigans might make Scorchers a more attractive option. But the way that they work, the fact that you're ostensibly going to use them to keep out of 9 inches of anything,
the
Scorcher's a bad choice. Because
Scorchers are 12-inch range now, like flamer-based weapons are a lot better now. Scorchers being 12 inches.
Oh, there's 12 inches, is it?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I still think like rockets are a better option because they've got rockets or big shooters because they've got decent range.
I agree with you. I do think they
But
are the better option.
I would say rockets all day, because for those tanks, which is a minimum sort of squad size for the Grot tank,
I know where this is going.
for them is 5D3 rocket shots, which was the same number of rockets that a small unit of tank busters
used to be able to have, yeah.
in the olden days.
The Grot tanks are
except-
better tank busters than tank busters.
Except they had
Very
4s,
much
not
so.
5s. And they've also got this absolutely henge toughness 6, 5 wound sort of profile with a 3-up save, and they can scatter.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even if your opponent does charge them, they're fucking tough.
Yeah, they're
In
pretty resilient.
One of the games I used them, I spent the first 2 turns scattering away from a unit of boys who were desperately trying to batter the hell out of them. And then they caught them in turn 2 because I got penned in by 2 different units. I was like, oh no, the boys have caught the Grot tanks. The Grot tanks slowly rolled over everyone.
Yeah, they're not actually that bad in melee, are they? If you've got a large unit of them, they're 3 attacks each. The weapon skill 5+, but they're strength 6. You definitely wouldn't use them for it, but they can sort of give a little bit of a fight if they get caught in melee. And they can potentially explode as well, each one of them, because they've all got deadly demise. So you get exploding Grot tanks as well.
They all have deadly demise.
Yeah, deadly demise 1. So basically, if you roll a 6, they'll throw out 1 mortal wound.
Is that to everything nearby? So do
Yes.
they do that to themselves as well?
Yeah, you would.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah,
Just
it
a
happens
chain
to
reaction going off.
Yeah.
Don't
I've had that
do
with
it
the
to
killer
your-
cans as well. They do the
Yeah,
same.
you don't do it to your own tanks in the unit. Like if you blow up tank 1 in your unit and you roll a 6, you wouldn't do 1 mortal wound on every other tank in the unit.
Oh, do you not?
No, that unit's a unit that isn't affected by it.
I think that would just be another rule. I've probably been playing wrong.
But everything within 6 inches, another unit of tanks or cans or whatever else, they'll all take a mortal wound. But it doesn't, like if one of your killer cans blows up.
I'm pretty sure I've been playing it wrong the whole time. I'm pretty sure I've been throwing a mortal wound on the cans.
Yeah.
The actual unit that had the explosion.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
sure
I've been
it
doing
doesn't.
that. I'm pretty sure. I just believe you, mate. I think it's a very. It's not unusual for me to fuck a rule up, mate. Don't worry about that.
I mean, I might get proven wrong with that one, but I don't. It's unusual normally to have a model which will blow up and
I think it's probably one of them things.
Be a part of a unit.
Yeah, because it's different now. Because it used to be like a vehicle exploding and hitting other vehicles, and I don't know. I think. Yeah, I've probably just been carrying on playing like for an older edition rules, most likely. I'm sure someone in the comment section now is saying, yes, confirmed, this is it. So you'll have your answer.
Like, it's not really a shameful thing to talk about. I'm not sure how these rules work because that's just a problem that GW.
No, is it fucking
in the
hell?
last couple of editions, like there's so many. Not only are some of the rules like they're trying to get ahead of rules issues. But the problem is they're doing it in the same way that they did with the Blood Bowl second season, where they're trying to be far too clever about how they do the rules, to the extent that I read a few of the rules, and they're obviously, if you understand the logic that GW uses, you're probably quite adept at figuring out what they say. But if you don't care that much, you're going to be very confused by a lot of rules. I remember when we were talking about the Death Copters, when I can't remember, was it when Artie was here and it was me, Artie and Sid, and we were talking about it, and that big bomb rule, there's the bit about this unit, and it's just like, so how many dice do you roll to see how many mortal wounds is it? Are you rolling for the amount of death copters you've got, or are you rolling for the models in the unit you've flown over? Because they didn't make it clear enough.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the fact of, obviously they're constantly updating the game and adding new FAQs and stuff. Everybody gets left behind in the design that they've gone for. And I do think like it's still better than it was last time. Like I think 10th is a much more solidly written system than 9th was. Low bar, but you know, it's some praise.
That's the catchphrase, isn't it? It's easier, not easy.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that's so fucking...
So we've had 3 picks. Scar. What's your pick?
Unit? Right, so I go for the 5th Fusiliers of Rente. That's in House Marek, which is this faction over here.
You have been, you've been dying. You've been
He's been
sitting
sitting on that
one,
this
haven't you?
whole time.
And remember, this is the 3025 map for Battletech, so just to adjust yourselves to it. But yeah, that's the unit I'd go for. House Marek, can't go wrong. I mean, when they're fighting other people, that's when they're not busy fighting themselves. But for 40k, since this is a 40k channel, Stormboyz, I'd go for Stormboyz. I like Stormboyz. I think their models look cool. They've great conversion potential, but on the tabletop as well, the fact that they're fast, unit of 10 of them. If you move and then advance, I mean, outside of your you're going to be taking potential mortal builds. But like, they're Stormboyz. Get stuck in, or get in and get quick and grab your objectives early. Score some points and then smash into the enemy. So I'd go with Stormboyz. I mean, I'm biased. I've loads of them. They're bleeding. They're great. You know what I mean? They need to be converted up. But how could you not like Stormboyz? You know what I mean? See, look, fucking Shidden is and the Stormboyz with their hoops. I still can't get over. You were like, hold on, I don't need to actually make a whole hoop. If I just do either side, that Eureka moment.
Yeah.
Happens to the best of us.
Sid, I'm sure there'll be a link for there is a link on the channel for your if your audience wants to see more of that. If you want to go and check out Sid's Stormboyz, go and check.
I'm also working on Stormboyz. Although I don't expect mine to be finished. That's, I suppose, the difference.
And they're cheap enough as well. What are they currently? 140 points for 10?
65 for 5, 130 for 10. The only shame with them is that's your unit size options, 5 or 10.
Yeah.
And I wasn't around in the hobby when
they're better than the fucking Tank Busters, got it?
Oh yeah. No, there was going to be only 3 of them had jetpacks, and the other 2 had to fucking walk. But luckily, they sacked that idea.
Love it.
But I'd love to see a unit of 30 again. I love it.
Yeah, the formations for them back in the day were great. Yeah,
because
you zag struck in with them, and you just
zag struck and
take a load of them. Because I have a load of the 3rd edition sculpted them, which is like a metal torso and the metal jetpack, and then it was just the plastic Boyz kit. Then, so it was like
I'm surprised it get off the ground.
I mean, surprised it could stay standing on its base, let alone get off the bleeding ground. So
Is that why they didn't have flying stands? Just because
I think so.
Freaking plastic.
Just slowly fucking or falling off. Yeah, hills. They weren't fans of hills at all.
Yeah, quite top heavy, aren't they?
So yeah, I think Stormboyz. I think Stormboyz will be good for the game because the game seems to be like very objective focused.
Yeah.
So it seems like a good idea. I know you're going to come up against the objective secured, and I don't think they have that. So you'll have to deal with that. But get in quick and grab.
I thought they got rid of objective secured.
Well, they have got rid of objective secured, but every unit's got
objective control.
Objective control, and although everybody's got it, a Stormboyz, and I'm just checking on this now, but I think the Stormboyz is probably 1, as in 1 point for every
model in the unit.
Every model in the unit, whereas like a Boyz 2, so a Stormboyz generally.
But they're very fighty though, aren't they? They're very fighty, so whatever they charge in on is going to be reeling from it because they're flying boys, aren't they? They hit with the same punch as
They get that power claw in there as well from the knob, the free power claw. Yeah. Pretty decent, and it is the maneuverability. I mean, movement 12, they can advance and charge every single turn. I mean, they have to roll those d6s, not a 1 for each person. They explode, or you take them all. Essentially,
turn 1 charge every time, isn't
it? Yeah, and if you don't want to rely on that advance and charge type thing, you've got your deep strike as well. So you need them off the board and just bring them on. After the first turn, when your opponent's moved forward a bit, exploit those gaps.
Okay.
And if you can't drop in fucking midfield and get your advance and charge off next turn. Spot on. Yeah, I like Stormboyz.
Well, yeah, that's the approach. Really, is like you can go for your full unit of 10 and go hell for leather with them, or you could be a cheeky here and do little units of 5 that are popping around, being
Yeah.
cheeky. I love this unclaimed objective. I don't mind if I do.
Small units are very nice for deep strike because
Yeah,
you haven't got to fit in as bigger area. You can squeeze into little gaps and just a little
Yeah.
annoying unit of 5 to
That's the
fuck your
key
plans.
thing. Yeah, finding those gaps in a unit of 5 for a mere
Yeah.
5 points can drop down, exploit that, and like I say, an Ork knob with a power claw. I'm sorry, like he's not to be trifled with. He can do some damage.
Especially if you hit them during a war.
Yeah,
They're going to become really fucking fighty and be them choppers of -1, like you're going to fuck shit up.
I mean, during a while, that's still 20 attacks coming from a unit of 5. And 16 of them aren't bad, but 4 of them are pack and punch. Don't forget, if you're with the current sort of war tribe thing, you got your exploding 6s, maybe even 5s and 6s for a CP. Yeah.
Only sort of downside with them, I think, is that you've only got one. I mean, it's not really a downside because it's a good option, but they've only got one option for a character to plug in, haven't they? And that being Zagstruck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's obviously good. I can't try to remember what he does to him. I need to look at the card.
But presumably he's also a question mark because you can't get the model right now, can you?
Well,
I have
the ones that
heard
got
that.
discontinued.
Well, you'll be very surprised if he's not released in plastic very soon.
Yeah.
Drill
I
boss. If he's leading them, they add 1 to the hit roll in combat. And then he also does re-roll charge rolls for this model when they set up on the battlefield.
That's a nice rule. That plummeting descent.
Fucking lovely.
Yeah.
And he's a hench unit within himself. He's 90 points. He's quite pricey for a character, but he's good. I think he's worth it.
You can re-roll the charge roll. You can re-roll on a turn in which they were set up from reserves. So if you deep strike in, you get a re-roll to the charge. Not every turn.
That's really good. That's when you want it
that's
to
when you
work the
want it.
most, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
'Cause you've got your 9-inch charge you're looking at, and
deep striking in, and then going, it's a 7.
yeah.
That's the
Please don't shoot them all.
that's the thing I
pain's still
generally
wet.
that's the thing I generally like about a lot of these sort of little flavor rules that sort of crop up is that they open up tactical options. Kind of
They're
bewildered
definitely
it
the
took them
most-
this long to realize that they can do that.
They're definitely the most interesting special rules that they give. I think all the ones that are, there's lots that are quite good.
Yeah.
You know, they like re-roll ones to hit or something like that, and that's quite good. But they're just more better at fighting. But something that gives them a little bit more.
I'm so over real.
Well, they have lessened that. It's not like the 8th edition was very heavy on the old re-roll ones. But
there's so much of that shit in Age of Sigmar, and it's just like more re-roll rules, and it's just like, but they always pick favorites with it. They'll only pick certain factions will get re-rolls, and then certain other factions won't ever get them, and it's just like,
well,
you're creating inequality.
Well,
if you're consistent with it, then it's
just
fine.
a genuine question. I mean, I've not really done the maths, but is it better to have a re-roll 1 or better to have a, say, +1?
It's always better to have +1. +1's just better, I think. But it depends on the good. Re-rolls are better for other factions. A Space Marine re-roll in a 1 means only a 2 is really a bad result. Whereas for an Ork, a re-roll 1 is still likely to be a miss.
I don't want to shit on rerolls too much because I think they're a nice way to add flavor without adding a powerful rule. But the problem is that they tend to get a bit carried away with it, and too many units get too many of them, and then certain factions have loads of them. Like I was remembering in 8th edition when like Ultramarines could just hand out rerolls like chocolate, and you're playing against Ultramarines. It's just like, all right, okay, so literally you're not going to miss me. And I'm playing Orcs, and my shooting phases are basically just already redundant because I can't hit. I do genuinely feel, I think probably the biggest issue that 40k has is we're still strapped with these stupid ideas of what hits and what doesn't hit. And
we don't want to get
that Orcs always hit on 5s, and it's just like, maybe it's time to rethink that. Maybe we should have more Orc units that hit on 4s. I know we're starting to get some that do, but you know, I think we should have more. Especially if we have any more sort of things that are very bad moony. Like like I still think that that's what Flash Gitz should have over Lootas, is that they should be more accurate.
We are going
Because they've got
wildly
targeters and
off
stuff.
tangent at this point, though.
Yes, of course.
Oh,
What did you
Stormboyz.
expect?
So that all goes to show
Yes, for
Stormboyz.
Stormboyz.
Yeah, I like a Stormboy.
Um,
And
I
you-
also think that when they redo the kit, Vulture Claws shouldn't just be a thing. Like, we should have something like Vulture Claws, but like a unit upgrade for Stormboyz. I think Stormboyz should start to get some more interesting combat weapons or some extra interesting specialist stuff.
I think there's nothing wrong with the current kit. I quite like it.
I
no,
do
I
like
do.
it.
I do like them. I think it's
But
lovely.
they don't have it. They don't have any specialism. They're just fast and they've got choppers. And I just think,
That's their specialism. Is they're fast and they got choppers. That's the thing. Like
well, you can have fast and choppers, and then
they don't
have, like,
specialism, mate. They're wearing jetpacks. How much more specialist do you want?
They've got a rocket strapped to their fucking back.
Yeah.
So, I'd end it with, it'd be cool to have a Warboss of the option to have a fucking
That would be
Stormboyz
class.
back.
Oh,
That'd
God,
be
tell me about it.
very cool.
Yeah.
But
You had
before we
jump on Marines and that, so yeah, give a war.
Yeah, that would be awesome to have that.
And
as
roll
an
that
option.
one and watch him go.
Yeah. So my next choice, I've also gone into Legends units. In fact, well, you've two of my three picks are Legends units, because the Legends side of things is really good. And the point I was sort of getting at earlier with talking about the special rules that are the best is, if a special rule makes it sort of fluffy, I really like that. And if it does something interesting and gives you a tactical edge that's a little bit more, it feels a little bit more nuanced or tactical than just, they're better at fighting or they're better at shooting. It's just something a bit better, So with that in mind, which one should I go for first? After the point I've just made, I'll go this one actually. War buggies.
Yeah, here we go.
War buggies are really cheap. I can't remember the points of them now. Are they 30 points?
Each. Yes.
40 points each. They
each.
are 40 points each, yeah.
Isn't that the price of a unit of Grots?
It is, yes. Yeah, so the same points as a unit of Grots. But they've they got movement 12, toughness 6, 4+ save of a 6+ invuln, 6 wounds.
Excuse me.
7+ legion, objective control 2. But the thing that for me makes them really interesting is I've always been a big advocate for Legends units, and Legends units are good. We've had buggies for quite a while now in Legends, but they were literally just a cheap, pretty weak buggy with the big shooter on, a twin big shooter.
They've put some thought into them, and
So now they've got. Well, they've still got the option of the rack of rockets, which I love, and then you've got the twin big shooter. But yeah, the thing that makes them really interesting is their ability outflank, because when this unit arrives from strategic reserves, it can be set up within your opponent's deployment zone. All other restrictions still apply. So it's got a nice little rule there where it can come on and really annoy your opponent early on. The other rule I really, really, really love about the buggies is the Speed Freaks rule. If a model from your army with the leader ability can be attached to Warbikers, it can be attached to this unit instead. So now buggies and their other modified variants, which we might talk about in a minute, they get to have characters join them. We've got so they can be joined by a Warboss on bike. And they can be joined by a Death Killer Wartrike or one of the mounted characters that you'll also find in Legends. So if you haven't checked Legends out, go and have a look because it's really fucking good. And then they benefit each other. So the buggies will grant that benefit onto the Death Killer Wartrike and the other way around. So they can benefit from his rules. And, I just think it's really cool, and it just adds a whole flavour. As before, they were quite bland. It was literally just a cheap buggy unit, which was still cool that you could use them. But it's nice to see in Legends that they've gone to the trouble of actually putting some quite interesting special abilities and actually really treating these old units that they no longer sell with a bit of respect and love. And it's quite nice to see, actually. But yeah, war buggies.
Surprising to see, actually.
I'll give you that. I was pleasantly surprised by how much effort they put into it. with some faults, like we said earlier, like the big guns
with
and
some
that.
exceptions, yeah.
Yeah, it's got me wanting to definitely, and I definitely will. It's a future project. I'm definitely kit bashing a unit of war buggies because I think it'll be quite a fun, simple little conversions to do. And they'll be fun to use on the table, and they'll give you a nice little outflanking unit. And I think my Death Killer Wartrike would quite like leading a unit of buggies. I think it could be quite fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, war buggies for the win.
Also, did you notice the way that that was written?
What's that?
The way the thing about it's any character that can lead Warbikers.
Yes.
I quite like that.
Yes.
So I thought I would make 2 mentions here for 2 different reasons, but I'm just going to do them just because they link so well with what Steve-O just said. So I'm going to mention Scorchers. I think Scorchers are really nice. I can see why they don't have that outflank ability, because that would probably be a bit mean. Just go into their deployment zone and immediately toast stuff. But
you're talking Scorchers the unit right now,
yeah,
aren't you?
the Scorcher
Not
unit.
the weapon.
Yeah, the Scorchers.
Although it does have that weapon too.
Basically a war track. Is it a war track with a Scorcher, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I know loads of Ork players that just built them as buggies, but yeah, they're ostensibly war tracks. I don't know whether or not the war track has anything different about it. I don't know.
It's just that's because it's got the big tank, as in that being towed behind it for the fuel and that.
Yeah,
that's it.
At least I'm thinking of the old Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
Model anyway.
Oh yeah, they always did. Like I mean, I've got some of one here, but obviously not a lot of it. But you have the trailer coming.
What everyone used to use to make Grot tanks when you could get them cheap. Now they're fucking extortionate on eBay. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's loads of ways to make Grot tanks though, so it's not too bad. But and also I stockpiled these, so I've still got loads of them. So if you
it's your retirement fund.
If you want some Steve-O, I can sort you out.
Beautiful, good man.
So what was I going to say? Shit. Yeah. So the rule writing on this did confuse me a little bit, but I wanted to talk about the Warbike character thing particularly because it's going to lead on to the actual unit that I probably should talk about rather than Scorchers. But I just wanted to mention them because I think they're a good unit. I just think they're just a straight up good unit to take. Scorchers on an Ork unit that has mobility is just a great choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shout out to the classic Bernie bus of just sticking a load of burners, a load of burners into a truck and just driving somewhere and just going burn Disco Inferno. And
the proper Borny bus was a load of Borners in a looted wagon that had a Scorcher.
Yeah,
so it was laying down.
Yeah.
And then you used to be able to pull the template down, right? And it was a case of, right, everything this touches times 10. Just
delete.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. It was so funny.
It was glorious. What's the new Borny that?
But I also like the fact that they can be a retinue for a character because I think that running around with 3 Scorchers is spicy. It's super fucking spicy. I think it's really, really, really cool. And you can stick them in with a big mech on bike, which is the thing I want to talk about now.
Just for a slight correction with the buggies and the Scorchers, they come in units of 1 to 2.
Oh, can you only take 2?
You can only take 2.
It's 3 with your Warboss on bike. Bike, Boy on bike. Bike.
That's less nice. But also
nice that you can have a unit of 1 though. Like it's just nice. It gives you a cheap option to be like, I've got a few points, and we know that now with list building. So buggies and big guns and Scorchers, they give you a nice little cheap option where I could squeeze 1 buggy in just to make up the points, you know.
And they're not bad. They've got the rules that they have let them be a little bit of a wild card. It's not a lot of a wild card, but it's just that enough that it might matter and it might count at the right moment. Especially the buggies because of the outflank. The outflank's
the Scorcher itself. I mean, we know a Scorcher is a 12-inch. The flamethrower Scorcher, not the bike Scorcher. The Scorcher itself, 12 inches, D6 shot, strength 5. Was it -1 AP, 1 damage? It's auto hit. It ignores cover, which is good. And with the Scorcher vehicles, you get to reroll the wound rolls of 1. And if you're within 9 inches, no, if you're within 9 inches, you can reroll the 1s. And like the Lootas, if they're on a bit of an objective, you can just reroll all wound rolls.
Now,
That's a good chance of getting there.
The question I had is that it looks like for each gun you can do 1 reroll.
What's that?
On the Scorcher thing, if you have a read of it.
Yes, you yeah, the whole unit would benefit from it.
Yeah, no, it would be...
every time you fire this weapon, you may make a reroll. I seem to recall it being saying something along those lines.
Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack with a torrent weapon, the Scorchers, that targets an enemy unit within 6 inches, or 6, sorry, not 9, reroll a wound roll of 1.
Yeah, so you get 1 reroll of...
No, but for each one you roll...
For each of them, and then also, if they're on an objective marker, you just re-roll the wound.
Yeah.
Although, can you see the issue that I have? Because the way they've written it, it's just like, unless your brain's synced in that way.
That's almost every rule in the rule book and the card. That's just what they write.
If you take it that you've got 10 hits for whatever happened, you pick 10 dice up and you roll those dice to wound. If that is your wound roll, those 10 dice is your wound roll, singular, then I see exactly where you're coming from. But the way they mean it is, you're making 10 wound rolls. So you roll a dice, that is your wound roll. You roll another dice, that is you do it all at the same time, but each dice is a wound roll. Each dice is rolling the wound. So any one of those which is a 1, you get a re-roll. But I understand, if you think of a wound roll as in a singular action of rolling a battery dice.
Scratchy head.
Well, the rule is simple. The whole unit re-rolls 1s to wound within 6. And if they're on an objective, they just re-roll the wounds completely.
I think it makes more sense the way they've put it, to be fair. When you make a hit roll and you roll 6 dice for your Warboss, is that the hit roll, or is he making 6 hit rolls?
You could. I just preferred it when it was just like you can re-roll wound rolls of 1, because then you're covered and it's simple. It's just simple. They've tried to be too clever with it, and by being too clever with it,
hasn't really changed anything as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, it's exactly the same either way. It's just some people are just going to end up confused by it for no reason in my view.
It's a really good unit for shifting the enemy off of an objective, or at least being better at that, because it's an auto-hitting weapon for orcs, and then if you're on an objective, you're re-rolling all the wounds. So that is, they're definitely going to be making some saves, unless you are making some horrific rolls.
Exactly, -1 AP as well when they're not getting any benefits of cover. If they're in cover, then that's as good as you're going to get as well.
And it'd be interesting, like some of the buffs that certain characters give them as well, if you did attach a character to them, and the buffs.
I don't know what the Big Mech gives. I imagine it's rules to hit.
We'll get into that shortly.
It's going to be too much cover for them. Pain Boy makes them more durable. I think the Warboss and Warbike and Death Killer, Wartrike both give good advance bonuses.
Yeah,
it's auto advance of 6, and they also give +1s to hit in combat,
and add their own considerable firepower to it as well.
And give them a bit of teeth, basically. I mean, you wouldn't want to charge a unit like that with a Warboss and Warbike in it, and knowing that they've got Scorchers for Overwatch sort of shit.
So they're just adding the melee to a unit that's already getting in close. It's going to be useful, isn't it?
I mean, having said that, they've got spiked rams, spiked wheels, sorry. So it's only 2 attacks, but hitting on 4, still strength 6. It's like they're like Grot tanks in combat. So
how weird! Yeah, the buggies are better in combat. The buggies get 3 attacks, and they've got exact same weapons, spiked wheels. Weird.
You want weirdness in combat? Grot tanks hit with strength 6 in combat. Mega tank.
I think that might.
That is odd, isn't it? That is weird.
I think that might just be because the buggies are faster and they've got 4 wheels as opposed to the 2.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's probably what they've decided.
But a good choice, Dim. The war track also should get a mention as well. It's very similar and has its own different rules. So yeah, just having 3 varieties of alternative different buggies to the big buggies that we got now. Nice that they're still around and nice that they can be used.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the War Track does. Did they give it a rule? Did they give it some kind of
They
interesting
did.
terrain
It'll have
shenanigans?
something special, yeah. It's got
I think
byjacker.
yeah, that's it. When you're within a certain range, it gets extra AP, doesn't it?
Yeah, within 9 inches gets an extra point of AP.
And it can have the rack of rockets as well, can't it? So
It can have a rack of rockets.
and they're good. The rack of rockets is quite nice actually. So you get a D3 +1, potentially 4 shots, strength 9, AP -2, flat 3 damage, and being able to up that to an AP of -3. Ooh,
Do the buggies
lovely
have that?
jumping.
The buggies have that, don't they?
yeah, Buggy's got the rack of rockets
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's quite nice actually.
Yeah.
I mean, spoilers. Later on, I'm going to talk about a big mech on bike, but I like the idea of attaching a big mech on bike with the war buggies with racks of rockets, because the big mech on bike giving them the sort of re-rolls of one.
Well,
and
if you
stuff.
didn't talk about the big mech
Well-
on bike, I wanted to talk about
Well,
the big
he
mech on
hasn't
bike.
talked about them yet, and before he does, I would like to bring up, and I know some people might go, but I want to talk mech guns. I love a mech gun.
So do I.
Yeah,
Yay!
proper Ork artillery.
Yeah.
I say a mech gun. I mean custom mega cannon, obviously. I do because it's the best one.
It's like, of course.
I mean, I still want to give Bubble Chuckers a run and see what they do.
Look, do you know what?
I've built 3.
The bubble chugger is good. It is good.
The thing with the bubble chucker is, in the last edition, it was absolutely
Dog
fucking
shit.
ludicrous. Like you would go, this has got 3 distinct weapon profiles. Now you pick a target, then you roll what you're shooting. You're like,
Yeah.
so I've got like a 1 in 3 chance of actually doing what I wanted to do before I even roll to hit.
Mm.
Ludicrous.
They've done-
But at least
they've
now you
done
roll
that
what
to
you're
us
gonna get,
before.
then you pick your target. Could be perfect. Big dense bubble taking out tanks with massive damage, lots of scattery bubbles, whatever. It could be all right. But I've only as yet, funnily enough, used the custom mega cannon because it just on paper you look at it and go, ooh, you might blow up, but you're gonna take.
I think the
down
bubble
first.
chucker's worth considering, because the bubble chucker is got that versatility in it.
Look, if you're
And it
sticking
is a bit
one gun in-
random, but
if you're sticking 1 gun in, I can see going with anything. If you're sticking 2 in, you want 2 custom mega cannons. If you're sticking 6 in, oh, I'm mad. Have one of everything. Woo!
yeah.
Just go crackers. I'm trying.
Tis the
everything, lads.
Orky way.
I do think the tractor cannon is pretty good, or at least it has its point. It's only got the 1 shot, which is obviously pap, and it hits on 4, so it's a bit like, it's almost 50-50. But when it does hit, you've got a strength 10, D6 +1 damage at -2 AP, and it's got anti-fly on a 2-up. So a 2-up the wound against the flying thing is a critical hit. And because it's got devastating wounds, that means that D6 +1 it's not mortal wounds anymore, is it? But it bypasses it.
Just
It
said,
only
yeah.
make a difference if you are shooting a unit of flying troops, I suppose.
As far as the fly is concerned, it's mortal wounds.
Yeah. So that's got some heft, especially since some of the flyers, it's the toughnesses have gone up a bit.
Yeah,
not
pretty
exactly,
resilient.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you would be wounding on 6s or anything, but you could be wounding on possibly 4s, even 3s. You're better off with 2s, aren't you? Obviously. So the tractor gun's good. The smasher gun's decent.
Yeah,
It's-
none of the options are shit, are they? It's just
No.
some are clearly
I still
better.
think that
I still think the custom mega
that
cannon would be my choice.
I still think the custom mega cannon basically does everything that the tractor cannon tries to do better.
The
And
tractor cannon's your safer option.
the custom mega can be flexible, whereas if you take a tractor cannon, you're hoping that your opponent brings fly keyword thing,
Yeah.
and if they don't, it's
Yeah.
fucking a waste of points. It's useless.
Yeah, well, it's not
Yeah.
useless. It's still got a strength 10, so you'd be wounded against that, but it's not as good. I wouldn't use it against anything that wasn't flying.
Well, I suppose
The
it
opponent-
could
the opponent
do
wasn't
some
going for
damage to a
big
tank.
flying
Yeah.
stuff. I wouldn't bring it. But the smasher gun it's still good, it's not quite as good. You're right. It's not quite as good as a custom mega cannon. But if you go to if you lived in a country like say America, and you went to a gun shop and said, "These are the two guns. There's this one. It holds more ammo than this one. It's more powerful than this one. It's more accurate than this one. But every 6 shot fires backwards." You might think, "Well, you know what? I'm going to go with the other one."
Yeah, we would, but an orc would never do that.
Well, it's a good job Grots are firing them, isn't it? Because I think Grots might, and that's probably why we've got Smasher guns.
Well, I just think that like the thing with the like, even if we take into account that Grots can occasionally hit the broadside of a barn, we are still suffering from this problem that orcs have. That
The snipers,
like you take guns in an orc army, and currently there's no way to really buff them. So what we end up looking towards is either something that just is a bit ubiquitous, but on the whole, what we tend to be looking at is things that fire multiple shots in almost every instance. Anything that's a single fire thing in an orc army is just not attractive.
it's not as good. No.
We can buff a bit with characters. Like you've got
You
the
can,
mechs and the big mechs. And
I don't think-
Which brings me to my additional point that a unit of these mech guns is not complete until you put a big mech in there to give it the rerolls to 1.
or a mech.
No, because a mech can't have a shock attack gun. So you put the big mech in with a shock attack gun, and all that nonsense, right? It's hit me brain, right? And then he's not only making them better, but he's weighing in with his shock attack gun, and that bastard packs a punch, you know.
Yeah, that is good, but I would still argue for a mech. I love the
Fine,
+1 to hit. +1 to hit though. Now
Yeah,
you've got a custom
cheaper
mega
as well.
cannon, and it is only one, not the unit, because it's one vehicle.
Yeah.
That is the downside. But getting a custom mega cannon, hitting on a 3+, mwah, beautiful.
Right, now that's with the standard mech,
Yes.
right? So the standard mech will you'll be able to go, "Ooh, I bless you," and this one gun will get +1 to hit, right?
Yeah.
Now the big mech with shock attack gun also does that, doesn't he?
No, he gives them, didn't it?
No, he's too busy shooting to be.
There's re-rolls of 1,
Less
isn't it?
He does give them re-rolls.
Yeah.
Of 1, yeah.
But you could use both. Hit on 3s, re-roll your 1s. There you go.
Well, you could use both because the mech doesn't have to lead it. He just has to stand nearby.
Yeah, he doesn't join the unit, does he?
Tighten that bit.
You're saying
great,
about the mechs blessing them. I just had a vision of, like, you know, with the priest where he's got like the fucking the bucket and he's dipping it in and he's fucking drowning people. If there was like an orky version of that with like a bucket and he's just throwing like eating squigs at them or something.
Followed by the bucket.
Aaron Bork, be with you.
But yeah, I just think the rerolling on the whole unit, the reroll 1 on the whole unit is better than the +1. Yes, I think it is.
We agree, agree to disagree on
expensive
that
as well.
one. I think, I say agree to disagree on that one. I'll still go with the mech personally, but shout in the comments, see what you think.
Well, I've done the maths.
So, Scar, what about you? What's your next choice?
Well, so there's the Wolves Dragoons, and in 4025, right? The Wolves on the Border novel, they're up in Cretan space, which is this red faction up here against House Davian.
Does
Right?
it go faster?
Yeah, well, Cretans do actually tend to like their light mechs, so yeah, they do tend to go faster. Then there is the Betrayal. You have Manobu Tetsahara. I mean, like, Black Afro Samurai. What's not the fucking love? Class. Anyway, read the book. It's really interesting. Now, back onto the 40k. I can't be on one of these shows without talking about Commandos because they're fucking awesome.
For more
What's not
BattleTech info, check out Plastic Crack Gaming. Links in the description below.
Regular battle reports these days. Regular battle report content.
There's a dig there somewhere.
Commandos, they look cool. They're a great unit, and then they've got like their special rules. So like no Overwatch against them.
they're harder to hit, and then they can do their setting up within 9 inches. So you can be a proper sneaky bastard with them. Yeah, and just do what you want with them, really. Like hide them, try and assassinate people's characters. You know, that tends to be fun, especially in mega battles when you're like charging out of drain pipes and killing shit, or trying to kill shit. Didn't quite work against the weird boy. There's always next one. There's always next one. But yeah, like hold objectives and
Not
then
enough
so
last
like
time. That was the trouble.
yeah. But you have to take them in tens nowadays, don't you? That's the
You do.
min size. So they're not as tactically flexible as I'd like them to be. I think it would have been nice if it could still take the little units of 5. They were pretty cheeky as well for
really useful
objectives.
tactically, aren't they? Really,
They
really.
were. I mean,
It's the same.
I'll go on
It's the
to
same
what
sort
you
of thing that I see with like the fact that you can do it with Stormboyz is nice, but if you could still do it with Commandos, be sweet. Now I understand they're going into their unit size equals box it. So 10 Commandos, 10 all right, 5 tank plus. Look, we won't go into that. Right, we'll leave that alone. But yeah, like the only thing I don't like is that I would have likened them to be able to be taken in units of 5. But apart from that, yeah, they're fun. You know what I mean? Go in, claim objectives, or just
They're a
ruin someone's
sneaky.
day.
They're a sneaky unit with a very unwieldily big blueprint footprint that you can't really do much about, which is my issue with Commandos. I mean, obviously they do have like some stealthy rules to help a bit, but in game terms, they're a 10-man unit on 32mm basis. It's easier to hide 10 grots.
I'm loving the no Overwatch though. Like,
that is very nice.
even -1 to hit in general.
yeah.
Which I've seen that first, the -1 to hit, and I thought, is that why you can't Overwatch them? Is that the -1 just you need? They've actually got a
Stealth is a lovely rule. Not many. One of the few units in the Codex. I'm struggling to think of any other. Snickrot, obviously, but stealth's a lovely rule to have. Really nice.
What does Snickrot give them?
Good question. Let me fetch his data card somewhere.
That's a good job. I've got an answer to my question.
I think you reroll ones, isn't it?
I haven't actually.
I have my data cards ready. I don't have other people's data cards ready.
Well,
Almost didn't bother with data
he gets the
cards
same
at
stealth
all.
rule, which is handy.
There he is.
Precision. No, I'm what am I doing here? Where's he? Oh,
Red Skull Commandos. While this model is leading the unit, the models have the benefit of cover. So yeah, they've got stealth, -1 to hit. They can't be overwatched, and with him in there, they get the benefit of cover. So it really does sort of give their survivability from shooting. Means you can a lot more likely to get them where they're needed.
But it does also. I'm a little bit underwhelmed by that.
You've also got Cunning Infiltrator. Once per battle in your movement phase, instead of making a normal move with this model's unit, you can move it from the battlefield and set it up again anywhere on the battlefield that is 9 inches away from enemy models.
Fair enough.
So
That's good.
That's lovely, sneaky little tactic, isn't it? That's the sort of thing that could pull out a little surprise move and win the game, on a close battle. Like, bosh! Oh, you bastard!
Let's not remove them in your movement phase and put it up in your next.
No, just you remove it and you set it up again straight away.
It's like a teleport, isn't it?
Yeah, with no risk. With the jump, you've got a risk, haven't you? It's not always going to work, but it's just
the jump.
You just get to use it once a game. I'm taking that off the table and I'm putting it over there where it's really useful.
Shock jump dragsters, but yeah, of course, the jump only works on the 2+. Shock jump dragsters probably get eaten.
The weird boy comes with it doesn't, it's not necessarily going to work, is it?
It's his own business. It's not doing me. I imagine it's a gourd or something like that.
But yeah, top
second unit Commandos, can't go wrong.
And they've got lovely options as well. Lovely options.
Right. They've got no options. But they have lots of different things.
Can you not have them all with just sluggers and choppers now?
Oh, you mean just not take the option, not take the free things?
Yeah. What? But I
Why
would.
would you do such a thing?
I would. For some of the weapons, you're gonna be like, yeah, I really want that in there. But
Yeah, but the Slugger Chopper Boyz
it's so good.
For just Slugger choppers, I think. To be
It's
fair.
actually I think a lot of people are going to jump straight in and be like, oh, all these cool weapons, but actually, whole unit of them, all with sluggers and choppers, being sneaky and fucking getting where they're needed is, again, like the Stormboyz.
Yeah.
Boys, you can get in there better than boys, and then they still hit as hard as boys. It's lovely.
I used to do that back in the day with knobs. People would assume, you know, you'd put power claws on them and you'd give them big choppers or fucking whatever else. But a unit of 10 of them back in the day with just sluggers and choppers was 5 strength, 5 attacks each a piece on the chart. So you were thrown in like 50 attacks. So I totally get what you're saying. Like it's been a valid tactic. You know what I mean? I've just given stuff sluggers and choppers and just go in, get stuck in, like, you know what I mean? I've literally won games with units like that. It's just, what, how many attacks? Yeah, all the attacks.
You know what? The special Commando shooter, which is on the model, it's the little triple-barreled sort of automatic, and also the big shooter. They don't actually have a big shooter anymore.
No,
The one that's got a big shooter is a special Commando shooter as well, because you can have 2 of those in the unit 10. And they're just shooters insofar as they've got like a strength of 4 and 1 damage with no AP, but they do have 4 shots, 6 within half range. So it's basically like a 2-barreled shooter.
it's like a custom shooter, isn't it? It's basically a custom shooter.
Exactly what it is. It's the old 9th edition custom.
We're also forgetting as well.
You got 2 of them. It's all of a sudden 12 shots from just 2 lads. That's not bad, really.
One thing they have the grenade keyword, which is cool. So they've got that ability as well. And then also don't forget you've got the distraction grot and the bomb squig, which you might as well take. So the bomb squig's giving you a nice way to throw out some mortal wounds. And the distraction grot, once per battle, you use that, and it gives them a 5+ invuln on top of all the other buffs that help them stay alive. So, yeah, there's not much not to like about them, really. They're pretty fucking good. They come with just, like I say, there's a lot of fun weapons in there, a lot of special rules that gives them lots of buffs and tricks. So, yeah, very tricksy, cunning unit, as they should be.
There's lots on the sprues.
Yeah, and gorgeous models as well.
Oh, yeah, cracking.
Gorgeous.
We've got little Ork Army penknives having a teeny little tiny thing.
Yeah.
I remember I looked at the sprues and went, look at all the options. And then looked at them again and went, I'm not using any of them. It's absolutely basic bitch them out. It's kept all these extra additions going. Yeah, shirt sleeve pouches. Fuck off. They always do the pouches.
Sid, what's your next option?
Not unit I have actually used before. I think possibly ever. But one I'm very interested in using in 10th, I've put one together with a character to lead them. It is Flash Gitz. I just think they
look very good.
They look very good, yeah. They're not too bad price-wise. He says, nothing about how much it costs. See, 95 points, I think they are for 5. Which comes in at 19 points a model, which is, old money per model. And that's, I think, is very reasonable. Shooting-wise, yeah, they've still got the shooting. The BS5 now, although they get the +1 to hit because it's heavy if they stay still, which is pretty much what they were. And strength 6, -1 AP, 2 damage. It's all very nice. The big advantage of the Flash Gitz now is that it's predominantly a shooting unit. But if somebody did, think we're going to take those out, it's going to chop them up, we're going to charge in. They've actually all got the chopper now, so that it's just a unit of 5 or 10 knobs with choppers. So they hit
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say a strength 5, -1 AP, 4 attacks each, hitting on 3. Fucking hell, it wrecks somebody's day with that.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed people learning the hard way that Flash Gitz aren't just boys, but they're knobs.
Yeah.
So that anticipation of, oh, sure, I'll kill them easy. It's like, that was a bad idea, mate. And even now, even more so, it's like, good luck.
Yeah.
Or the classic shoot them up and then charge them. What do you mean you're charging? They're a shooting unit. Yeah, and they want to get stuck into,
It's an Ork Army, mate. There's
Even the Lootas are trying to get stuck
They're
in.
all
It's like,
combat.
"Hey!"
But they just reach another level as well when you put Badrug in there. He just adds that little bit extra. It's things like he's giving you
He's really good.
he gives you a reroll to hit,
Yeah.
or he gives you rerolls to hit.
Yeah.
So even though they're hitting on 4s, as long as you've got a nice position for them to stay still, and they've got 3 attacks each, and you can now, say, have 10 of them, all those 4-ups that miss, just fucking reroll them again. It's fine. Yeah, get it. You got it. On average, that's a lot of hits. Even if you go on 5s because you're moving at the same time, or you're in a truck or something like that, which, in fact, they'll not get it in a truck. I'll take that back. But he just adds so much more. And then when they get in combat, because Badrug's got dead glowy ammo, he's got like some radioactive ammunition on him, it just gives the opposition -1 toughness as well. So it just makes that strength of 5 with the choppers just hit that a little bit harder.
Yeah.
You're going to be taking, I mean, with your Marines and what have you, yeah, you'll still be on 3s because
It works with the shooting as well. It works with both the combat and the
it
shooting.
does, yeah.
Just
basically,
if
it's
they're within
anybody
6
within 6
inches, reduce their
yeah.
toughness by 1. So, and they're already hitting hard, so lovely.
So it doesn't just benefit them either. You get in there, they get -1, and anybody who wheels in or shoots in or.
And they've got nice built-in abilities. Even without him, they've got some really nice built-in abilities, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like the gun crazy show-offs. Each time a model in this unit targets the closest eligible target with its snaz gun till the end of the phase, the weapon has an attack characteristic of 4 as opposed to 3, which it usually has.
You get the extra shot for each model if it's the closest unit you shoot.
Yeah. And they get and the snaz guns come with sustained hits 1. So you're getting those nice.
I forgot all about that.
If you're getting 6s, you're getting extra fucking hits. Yeah, really, really nice. And then an ammo run once per battle. When you do that, you have the lethal hits ability. So that is lethal hits is auto wounding, is it?
6s to hit, auto wound.
Yeah.
So if with the sustained hits, if you rolled a 6 to hit, that will auto wound, and then you'll get the additional hit, but you will have to roll the wound with that.
Yeah.
But you can, it's just, and I think it's one of those units where you think, well, that's 5 of those would be great. So let's have 10.
I think they're probably
think how much more will be.
How many points is 5 though?
95.
Oof, they're steep enough.
So compared to
pricey, but yeah, you're getting knobs with some really good shooting and fighting. Yeah.
I mean, a unit of knobs themselves is 105.
But they're cheaper than knobs.
The 10 points cheaper than knobs, 2 points a model cheaper. Knobs are, you've got all the, I mean, against a unit which I would have picked for this, because you just give them fucking kill saws or power claws or something like that, and just absolutely wade in. And in combat, which is where orcs generally sort of excel, they're superb. Flash Gitz are more shooting, which is not the orc strong point. But with all these rules, I think I can see them going up in points maybe.
I think they're probably in contention for being like the best anti-infantry sort of shooting unit, especially against like the Space Marines are not going to like this because it's damage 2 and.
Do we really need more anti-infantry? We can already get bleeding stuck in. We need more.
You can, but it depends on your list. On it depends on the theme of your army and the list and stuff. And I think the
problem is we've got no real anti-tank sort of.
Not a huge amount.
Dust is being absolutely bent over the bleeding barrel. Yeah,
we do have other options though. Guns being one of them, you know.
Time to be a controversial cunt.
I'll just say this: the best themed army or clan-based army, sort of, for anti-tanks for me is Grots.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Tanks, your cans, your mech guns.
Yeah. The Grot stuff is good. Yeah.
One Captain Controversial. Let it rip.
Well, I was just going to say, Flash Gitz are a victim of Games Workshop's terrible lack of imagination. Like that.
Well, they're a victim. They're awesome.
Like.
But that's Bill now. Put that bleeding.
It's like they've not known what to do with them since Rogue Trader. They just never know what to do with them. Like in third ed, they were boys with guns, which made no sense. Like it's one of the things because the third ed codex was really, really great in a lot of ways, but Flash Gitz was one of the ways where it wasn't the best. It's an odd direction it took. I mean, I see what it's doing because it was kind of porting from second ed, and second ed was
I
very
liked
much
them in third because you had the options to sort of customize your guns. Didn't you?
The options were kind of cool.
Yeah, that
The
was
options
cool.
were kind of cool.
You could
but
sort of.
But they never did anything interesting with it. It was just like add one shot, add one AP. I can't remember what the third one was. I think it might
Add
have been,
one strength or something. I think it was.
Add one strength. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my argument was always they should have those 3 by default anyway. Because like back in the day they were just shooters, and then you paid a load of points to make them slightly better shooters, and then in one of the editions, they finally got the idea and gave them those improvements by default. And then I think maybe you might have had one edition where they had them, but they added them onto the basic shooter profile, and then you could do it again to make them a bit better. But they never really had an idea. Whereas in Rogue Trader, like Flash Gitz could just rock just about anything. Like they could have them. They could have missile launchers. They had so many options. They had so many weird shit. Like I've got one here. Like the old Flash Git guns were just like, they just had like all sorts of gubbins and gizmos just sticking off them, and just like they were just like the epitome of the custom gun. They had like a firework for every occasion, basically, and now they are literally a brick that has some funny little add-ons that you can stick onto it, and then it fires bullets.
I really like them. I really like them. I think they're
despise
cool.
the models. I think the models are the least imaginative and most badly designed. I would say
the
really concept of the Flash Gitz is worse than everything they've come up with for Age of Sigmar. I feel that strongly. Like, just like take all those stupid high elves. Nah, they're not as ridiculous.
There's a lot of. I mean, I don't understand because I do like the Flash Gitz, but I also really like a lot of the Age of Sigmar models as well.
No,
I
Age of Sigmar.
Flash Gitz
Age
kit.
of Sigmar has some good minis. I'm not saying all of Age of Sigmar.
Make me get the spray bottle out now.
Yeah, so I like them. I've bought the kit. I love the kit. I haven't actually built any Flash Gitz with the kit, but I've used the bits for loads of cool bits and mixed them in as like knobs and great. And they mash well with the knobs kit and everything that. But anyway, getting us back on topic, who just went?
Me, Flash Gitz.
So it's me.
Well, let me say something about Flash Gitz before we move on quickly. I've always liked the idea of Flash Gitz, but I don't like that they're piratical aesthetic because it doesn't really fit with my army. But the idea of having a captain, a military captain, and then just having like your SEAL Team 6 of Ork Flash Gitz, like that seems appealing. You know what I mean?
There is enough head options in the kit to not have any pirate hats in the kit.
You can stick any old head on
them.
And
you mix like knob.
That's the one good thing about the Flash Git kit is it mixes well with the knobs.
It does,
It does. Love some lovely heads in that kit.
There. So you don't have to do freeboot of pirates. You can do like Spec Ops if you want.
You get the knob head with the goggles on in that one, don't you? I like that one.
You can take the Flash Git off if you want to use those big guns. You can take those and just stick them on a knob body, can't you?
Yeah. So you could, like, if you shorten
the bodies have got like the big sort of coat type collars and that. If you didn't want that, you could just put them on the knobs and just have the military.
I do think the Flash Git heads are more like sharks than orcs.
They have got a slightly different aesthetic to the really old ones. It's sort of like the first step towards the new orc head. And then, like, after they've done Flash Gits, they went, what about if we also put them half the size? And shrunk them down. Because the Flash Git heads are pretty big heads.
Yeah.
I like those heads.
Yeah.
But it's an orc with a mouth.
Oh, yeah, and the tongue stuck in the neck.
It's
It
one of
does-
the first kits I think I had a round orc mouth as opposed to a top lip, fucking big sort of fish finger box for a jaw.
Yeah, there's a bit of a variety of expressions with the flash kit.
It's
Well,
like,
it does.
and
It
it's like,
does.
oh.
But. Let's
That's
get
why I
back on
love them.
topic.
No.
That's why I picked them.
Let's get this back
Got
on
back on
track.
track.
So my last pick. I'm sure we'll do some honourable mentions, but my final pick is again from Legends.
Hang on. Big Mech on bike.
Bingo! You got Big
I
Mech
knew it.
on Warbike. Had to happen. And
What's the only thing in the fucking corner? It's the only thing we've got that has options.
the reason I've picked him is
The only thing
because
options.
he's got a lot of options. Tons
It does.
tons of
Points to
options.
Gryffindor there.
He's got a good stat line. He's a big mech and he's fast and he does all the same stuff. He gives the re-rolls to 1, 2 units like I mentioned earlier, like the buggies. So yeah, I imagine him leading a unit of buggies with racks of rockets being quite tasty. And he can repair orc vehicles, which is really nice. So helps keep them a lot more survivable as well. And the KFF as well, which is lovely. Does all the things the KFF does. But then he's got it's the options. It's the options. He comes equipped as standard with a slugger, chopper, and the twin Daka gun on the bike. But he can swap his slugger for the following: shock attack gun, custom force field, combi weapon, custom mega blaster, custom mega slugger, rocket launcher, big chopper, power claw. And he can replace his chopper with the following: combi weapon, custom mega blaster, custom mega slugger, 1 rocket launcher, big chopper, kill saw, power claw. There's just so many combinations there. He can be dual wielding. He can have decent combat potential with a gun. He can be full on combat. He can have the custom force field, which I said earlier was one of his things, but you have to, so if you select it, so you don't just get it as standard. Yeah, and you can kit him out for a variety of different roles. And I know a little bit of a spoiler, I don't know if I should say this, but one of the Warbosses is working on one of these. I won't spoil who it is because I don't think he's announced it yet. But yeah, one of the bosses might be showcasing a kit bash of this. And again, like the buggies, and actually more than the buggies, I've never looked at a data card before since then 3rd edition flash kits and I thought, I want to kit bash one of them. I want to build that because there's just total freedom and you can create something really personal to you. Like, have a big mech on Warbike with a shock attack gun and a power claw, or have him with 2 custom mega blasters or 2 custom mega sluggers. So he can be going proper like ghetto gangster style with the pistols it's fucking awesome. What's not to like? There's nothing to not like on this. He's fucking beautiful and glorious. And yeah, download the Legends fucking thing. Download this fucking data card and build one and have some fucking fun with it. Because fuck yeah, get your creative juices flowing. And just he's a must in a Speed Freak army, surely, along with the Warboss on bike. And honourable mention to Paintboy on bike as well, because if you bike a heavy army, get all these characters, get the whole lot of them. It's brilliant. For a little while there, we just went down to Death Killer Wartrike, which I like, but now we've got all the old ones back as well. So lots of options that can completely change the way your units work, and can completely change the way this guy works. Because proper fanboying over this data card right now. It's fucking awesome, and I can't wait to build one for my army. It'll be fucking brilliant. It'll be really fun.
No, he is definitely a good choice. I mean, I see him. I mean, because you can have 3 of them, if you wanted to, and if you put them in a unit of shootiness.
Sid always builds 3. Always.
No point having a model if you haven't the maximum allowance you're allowed.
He does the same at Greg's as well.
Oh,
steak bake 3, please.
Right, but it's with some sandwiches. But if you are building a shooter unit, you want to put one in, whether it's war tracks or war bikes or something like that. I'm thinking something which might want to keep a bit more distance.
Yeah.
12 to 18 inches away or whatever the range of their dagger guns is. Then, yeah, I mean, I would go with shock attack gun and KMB. Because why wouldn't you not?
It's just be fun, isn't it? It's ridiculous and fun.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's not like, well, yeah, but you know how much you're paying for a shock attack gun? Yeah, I do. Note, thanks. I have two. Right? You just get everything you can get. And he's just driving around, hoovering up snotties, teleporting inside Space Marine's underpants, and then blasting with a custom Mega Blaster as well. Fantastic.
Hell
But
yeah.
if he's going to be closer up and getting stuck in, you give him your power claw, you give him a kill saw, whatever. You make him more suited for that close-up sort of role. KFF for durability, yeah, so much flexibility.
The only thing that's very
I'd say
odd
the
about
most
him is
flexible doing it.
any slightly odd choices. He can only have one kill saw. Every other hand gives me options, but I think that's because of the way kill saws work.
Yeah,
like, dual kill saws is like its own profile, isn't it? You don't get two kill saws, you get the actual weapon dual kills. I guess that's why they've done it. But yeah, you can have the big chopper, the power claw, the kill saw, which is awesome. Rocket launch. Yeah, it's just so good. It's so good. It's fucking glorious.
He's lovely.
It'd be great just even to putting the buggies to side, just joining a big unit of bikers. He'll be really good in that in all kinds of ways. Yeah. And I like building with the shock attack gun is going to be great for kit bashing purposes because like you're going to have to figure out where is he sucking up these snots from. You could have a sidecar loaded with snotlings and the Hoover pipe going into it, or a cage on the back with them, or there's so many fun ways you could incorporate that. I want to do one with two custom Mega Blasters.
The big hopper on the back.
Yeah.
Look at that. So just loads of snots.
with a grot sort of like cranking them in. You know what I mean? Like in the hopper.
Finally, a use for the Grotzuka from the Killer Khan kit. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I want to do one with two custom Mega Blasters, and rather than him be holding them, just mount them on the custom bike. So it's got the Dakar guns and the custom Mega Blasters on it, just loaded with fucking Dakar.
Just use that. So have the custom Mega Blasters sort of tilted and make them part of the handlebars.
Yeah.
So he's driving them and like shooting them at the same time.
Or put a turret on the back with the guns. You can have a turret with the shock attack gun, or there's just in game terms on the table. And this is when we talk about the good old days. This card is what the good old days used to be like. We used to select a character and then it'd say, right, this character can have 100 points worth of gear from this page. And you'd open the page and the whole fucking page is just filled with options. And it's like, well, you can have any of this? And it's just like going shopping. It's brilliant. And that's what this brings back to mind. And it's glorious.
Days of
this is what we want.
War
we want a lot more units like this. Yeah.
Like I'll have a bit of fudge and I'll have some dolly mixture and a few jelly beans, and sure, why not? Like a licorice whip.
You can't have flubs. You've already got jelly tots.
And to newer gamers, okay, well, when can I find this kit? Where can I find it? Well, no, you don't. You got to build this, and that's fun. That is, if you venture into this for the first time and you can't just go out and buy the kit, you have to figure out in your head, how am I going to build this? What am I going to use? You're going to have so much fun. Trust me. Forget building fucking the new Boyz kit or the new Beast Snaggers kit and just falling asleep from the sheer tedium of it all. You are going to have the most fun. It's going to be like playing with Lego again. You're going to love it. But anyway.
But yeah, forget the magic eye picture. It is the Commando sprue.
Yeah, fuck, you're right.
I want I see a penknife.
But yes, so Dim, what's your next pick?
I'm going to go with the Separatist Specialists.
Hey! Scar's already done that gag. You can't just change the game. Lazy, Dim. Lazy. Come on. You're better than that.
I can only read so far. I'm going to pick something that people are not going to be expecting. And part of me just thinks that I'm probably just supplying
they would expect it from me.
Steve-O with another choice,
Yeah.
basically. So, but I want to talk about it as well for a lot of the same reasons, and we are basically following on from the Big Mac. I'm going to talk about the Deff Dread because, like, the Deff Dread has
Nice.
an appropriate amount of options for a
Snake
40k
bait.
unit, and it's just so many ways to build it. And normally, when I think about options and I think about units with options, I'll almost always remember a time in the previous editions of the game, like, say, 4th or 3rd, where I was like, that was when it was best. And one of the surprising things about the Deff Dread is that's not true for the Deff Dread. The Deff Dread has never had more options than it does in these last 2 editions. Because they finally went, oh yeah, it could have 4 guns. And I don't know why it took them that long to figure out. But, you know,
It was a painful wait, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
it was.
We
It
never
was a
thought we
while.
were going to get it back. We never thought we were going to get it.
I don't think we ever. I don't think we ever had it before.
No, you're right. What was it? We
Maybe
didn't...
second.
It was the
Probably not.
4 claws we lost for a little while, and we never thought
Yeah.
we'd get that back. That
Well,
was,
yeah.
yeah. Fucking dread saws. Fuck dread saws. Unless you wanted to save a few points, then they were quite welcome. But otherwise, fuck dread saws.
Yeah, no, I never got the whole let's distinguish between a claw and a sword and all that sort of fuckery.
I
It's
never
like,
did that. With my
it's-
killer cans, it was the same as well. I never did it. I said,
Yeah.
look, they've all got
Ah.
claws. I ain't fucking
Yeah.
about that other shit.
It's a dreadnought close combat weapon. Don't worry about it. But yeah, the DACA Dread, just the visual of just like a dreadnought with like 4 guns, just being like, oh, fucking.
It's
basically-
lovely.
I see it like, I've knocked all sorts of shit down here. But you know, still waiting for the next step. You know, flat.
Yeah, exactly. That's the visual that comes to the mind
it's
straight away
that
for
front
me.
with a big can body in the middle. That's a little
Middle of it,
flat
yeah.
leg.
And a pair of legs.
Blasted. Yeah, love it.
I mean,
Awesome.
yeah, we definitely should have killer cans having the same. Sort of
I
thing.
would love that. Just 2 guns.
Killer cans with 2 guns.
Yeah.
Fucking hell,
Or
that'd be
2
great.
claws.
Why
Or
is
2
that
claws,
not
yeah.
claws?
Or 2 claws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fucking wicked.
Just make them like a Deff Dread, but slightly shrunk down. I've only got the 2, not the 4.
It'd be glorious, wouldn't it?
It'd
It'd
be
be
brilliant.
so good. Dual wielding rocket launchers. Fucking hell.
I'm dubious that it would happen, but I'd be fucking delighted if.
Oh, never
It'd
happened.
be probably the first time I ever broke cans out ever.
The thing is, though, what they wouldn't need to do anything with the kit.
Oh, of
No,
course, there's
they just
all
add the-
yeah, there's loads. Yeah.
Don't just release it as is.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, if you're only using 3 cans, what's
All you've got to do is
wrong
write
with you?
one line of
more.
text on the data card. That's it. There's just
Yeah.
one little bit. You can swap for this.
It's good.
Love
But I
that.
mean,
That's
because
so
people are
much-
like,
that's
oh
so
yeah, but
much
you
more
can't
modern.
make like you don't get like double the guns in a single kit of killer cans, but it's the same with the Deff Dread. You don't get 4 custom mega blasters
No.
in the Deff Dread.
If you want to
get
do
2.
4 KMBs or 4 rockets, you can't. Tough tits. You're not doing it. You're doing
Yeah.
2 KMBs. Is it 1 rocket, 1 scorcher? There's enough claws to do. Well, there's enough claws and swords. There's enough dreadnought or Deff Dread combat weapons to do all 4.
Yeah.
Certainly, because I did it with the first one.
But they've still granted you the option to do it, even though you would end up buying multiple kits.
Yeah,
But that's fine because,
Yeah,
like,
But
I
then there's
don't
no reason
see
not
why-
to do it for the
We don't
cans,
mind,
the
GW.
plastic
That's
big-
fine. We
Yeah.
do
This
not
is what
mind.
you wouldn't need
I
to make
certainly
the
don't
cans.
want to. I certainly don't want to wake up in a day where, like, Grot tank options is literally 1 of each gun because that's how they're supplied when you buy them from Forge World / advanced kits.
Well, I think the 4 big shooter option was always a little bit of a kind of a weird oversight because it became equipped with the big shooters as standard anyway. As it standard, it was like 2 claws and 2 big shooters, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you can swap these for the following. So you could have 4 rockets. Even back then, you could have 4 scorchers. But it didn't give you the option, and then you couldn't have 4 big shooters or 4 claws because it had those. You had to have 2 claws, 2 swords, or bite in it. So, but yeah, it's. I agree.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love the fact that you can just. I mean, if you built every possible weapon combination, there would be a fuck lot of Deff Dreads you'd have. Um,
I did
More
work
than
it
the
out.
maximum 3 that you
go
got.
on, what is it, Sid?
And I forgot, but I
Oh.
did. So many, so many.
Many. That's Ork
Many.
counting there for you, isn't it? It was more than 5.
Yeah, because
Lots.
because how many different weapons is there? Weapon choices? It's now you've just got
Claws,
combat weapon,
scorchers, big shooters, rocket launchers, custom
PMB.
mega blasters. So 5 different
That's it.
options.
Yeah, and you've got 4 of each one. So yeah, do the maths. There's a way to do it.
Well, it's 5 to the power of 4 then, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a factorial, so it's a big number. It's a big number.
I like the Deff Dreads at the start of this edition. Deff Dreads were a bit pricey. They've had a bit of a price drop, haven't they? They were dropped from like 150 to 1. I know they're 130 now. I think they were 150 when they first came out, if I remember. So they've gone up in cost, but they've also gone up in stats. Their movement is better now. They've got a 2+ save now, a built-in 6+ invuln, as a lot of our army has actually, which is lovely to have that on most of our units. And their toughness went up from 8 to 9, although a lot of weaponry also went up as well. But like Deff Dreads, like most vehicles,
I think
were
they were only
more...
7, weren't they?
Yeah, no, you're right, actually. Yeah. Yes, they were.
You
But yeah,
used
they've
to
got
get a bit of a
faster, tougher, better armor, invuln save, lots of options. I really like them. I mean, I've got the Da Dread. I've got mid Da Dread. He's shit at the moment. Just diabolic. Just useless.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, really bad.
This is a thing.
Looks
right?
great.
Yeah.
Shite though.
This is the one thing, because I was a big fan of the 4-claw Deff Dread, right?
Yeah.
Because you got them in there, generally 2 of his mates on a teleporter, blast them into the mid border, somewhere within charge range again, deal with that. And it all just go different directions and just rips you up.
Yeah.
And they were 85 points each. They were
Like
cheap as
the
shit.
classic surprise card effects. It's
Yeah.
that kind of
Now, if I
thing.
was using them in 9th with rockets or KMBs or anything like that, which would have upped the price to about 125 or 145, I forget if it was 10 or 15 points for KMBs and rockets, then these new rules would be out of the moon with. But if I want to do a 4-claw Dread now, I'm paying 130 points, and I just think, well, I might as well use all the custom Mega Blasters or all the rockets, which I've built Dreads for, so that's great. But the one I've done with all the shooters and the ones I've done with all the claws just seem like, well, I'm not getting much bang for my buck there, am I?
Yeah.
So to do something with the shooters, yeah, I'm going rocks and KMBs basically. They're not hitting.
That's the downside of like weapons not costing points.
Yeah, I mean, like we discussed this with snobs before, with like the kill saw power claw, big chopper sort of debate. Which one's better? And it always used to be power claw's better. That's why it costs more, and they look at it, it's better. But now it's not. You get more attacks with a big chopper. You hit better with a big chopper. You got more chance of beating armor with a power claw. You've got a better chance of wounding with a power claw, which is better. It depends what you're up against. You know, there's an argument could be made with both.
Yeah.
Whereas rockets against big shooter, I don't see that as an argument. I think it's rockets or KMB all the way.
We should talk about his special rule as well.
You stop me, pistons.
Piston-driven brutality.
Is a great rule.
At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of 1 or more units with this ability must take a battle shock test. So basically represents how terrifying it is to have a Deff Dread run into your lines. It would be pretty fucking horrific if you were on the receiving end of it. It's not great in game turns. They've kind of there's a big debate online about battle shock and whether it's very good, and it seems to be. It's a great concept and the way it does, and I like the mechanic. I like the way it works. I think it's good. I think it could be sort of the importance of it, the gravity of it could be pushed up a little bit, perhaps. And
situational.
Yeah, they've nerfed. They've done some things to correct it because
So-
we all had the stratagem we could all use to same bravery and just go, oh, spend some CP and not suffer the battle
Yeah.
shock.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having a mechanic and then going, here's a nup for that mechanic.
Yeah, but they've heavily
Classic
weakened that
Dispel
now.
Scroll. If any of you
Now-
play fantasy,
It's heavily
remember the
weakened
Dispel
now.
Scroll.
It's
Yeah.
you can only use it once per game now, and now you have to use it before you roll your battle shock. Whereas before it was like, oh, I failed it, I'm gonna nullify that. Whereas now it's actually the stratagem is very weak now, actually, and you'd only want to use it in really
So
desperate
basically,
circumstances.
you're using it if you absolutely need to know.
Yeah.
No, I think that's what it was in 9th as well, mind. You could only use it once a game.
No, but at the start of 10th, I mean, it was if you read the rule book,
Right.
as in at the start of 10th, it was use it as many, once per turn, I think, or
Once per
phase or
Well,
whatever.
yeah, strategy.
But now they've
Put
heavily
it back to
weakened.
once a game, and you've
But
got to
yeah.
use it instead of roll.
But the trouble is with it is this happens on your turn. So you at the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of one or more units with this ability must take a battle shock test. But they might have already, by the time it's got to that phase, they could have already used a stratagem, which is one of the benefits of making someone fail a battle shock, is that they can't use. It's the timing of when it's activated. By the time it gets around to their next turn to do their battle shock test at the beginning of their turn, they're okay again. So
I think the strength of something like that, it's not going to be something like you're going to charge into a unit and they're going to go and flee in terror. But if you've got, say, I don't know, 20 guardsmen, or 10 or 20 boys or whatever, it's normal infantry type, but a lot of them on an objective, you could in theory charge in with something like a Deff Dread, do your piston-driven brutality, get the battle shock test. There's a chance they'll fail it. Some troops, obviously, an Ork would fail it on an 8 up or 2d6. So it's
trouble is, when do you score objectives though?
well, if you charge in, they've lost their objective control straight away. So you then control that objective. Now you might not score, but until your next command phase or what have you. But they've got to try and take care of you first. They've got to take you out, haven't they? And if it's up against like a normal infantry squad, that might be something that'll struggle to do.
Don't you, on the start of your turn, that's when you get all your points. When do you do your battle shock tests? Is it before or after that? Because I think a lot of people's problem with it is the fact that it's not as strong as it could be, because by the time that it turns around to them scoring, it's kind of irrelevant at that point.
So do you mean they'll repass the battle shock test?
Yeah.
I would date in turn 5 and fucking down second.
Yeah, sure. But it is a lovely.
Imagine that though. In turn 5, charging up. Definitely been doing it. Just going right. I'm having that.
Yeah.
It just takes it. It's mine. On my own. That'd be great, man.
It is cool.
The battle shock rules now are totally situational for things like this. To play to your advantage. It is very situational. But the trade-off for, and it could be stronger, but the trade-off for that is my unit of 20 Orks will have 2 or 3 of them shot, and at worst, they won't be able to use strats or hold objectives. They will still all be there, they'll still all be shooting, and they'll still have a chance of passing it next turn, going back to normal.
Yeah.
In previous editions, you shoot 3, fucking 9 of them run away.
Yeah, it's awful. When they used to run off the fucking board, you're like, oh.
Lots of arguments online saying, "Oh, I think battle shock could be a little bit tougher. It's not. It's a bit weak." Yeah. That's Harry. You're fine, right?
Yeah.
Fucking Marines all stand there going,
the downside to making morale crippling is that they always make morale basically a non-issue for Space Marines, and then horrendously crippling.
They shall know no rules.
That makes no fucking sense to be that shit. Like the amount of times that leadership was a massive issue for factions such as Necrons.
I've had them run off the fucking
Tyranids,
table. It was infuriating.
Orcs, Eldar, and particularly Dark Eldar. And I just think those are the 4 factions that are not going to be scared of you. Why the fuck are they the ones that are always running away?
So, Deff Dreads, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one. Hang on, I did want to say one thing. The one issue I've got, the one little.
Is it an on-topic thing?
Yes.
Good.
one-
Otherwise, I'll have to decline your
The
request
one
and
issue,
move on.
the one issue I've got with piston driven, the one sort of little sort of issue I've got with piston driven brutality. I mean, it is cool that Deff Dread specifically have it. I think that's really, really cool, and it is quite fluffy. My sort of question is why doesn't every Dreadnought have this?
Yeah, like the Mega Dreads and the Mecha Dreads
And
the
certainly,
Gorkanauts and whatnot.
basically every Tyranid monstrous creature should also have that, really.
Fear, like we used to have in like fantasy and that. Fear and terror.
Universal special rule. Yeah,
I agree with that. That would be very cool to have those mechanics in 40k actually for certain units.
It's a really, really cool little rule. My only issue is that it's such a quirky rule. It should be a USR. More things should have it.
Well, good news, Dim. It's coming back in Warhammer: The Old World. So there you go. You can enjoy it over there. Scar, next unit.
Right, so the Grey Death Legion are a mercenary unit, and they start off over in the with the House Davian lads. But if you read into the Price of Glory, and when they find the Helm memory core, that's in Mark space. So Helm, the Helm as a planet's over here, and as you know, it starts a new renaissance in the game. So that's a nice tidbit of information.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that. Yeah.
Tell someone I don't know.
Look at him snuggling into his little comfort battle mech.
Plushies,
My question: Were you speaking Irish then? I didn't really catch any of the meaning.
I'll sort you out. What were we doing? Stormboyz, Commandos, and who else did I want to talk about?
In multiple ways, he's surrounded.
There's no surprises here, Scar. I think everyone watching knows what you're going to say.
Oh yeah,
except you, apparently.
But genuinely, it was like I was just like BattleTech. Oh yeah, what were we talking about? Lootas. Yeah, good crack.
Who's next?
Who's next?
You've literally just acted out Sid's whole routine when he did the impressions of all of us. Like you've literally just gone, oh, BattleTech, good crack.
Oh yeah, BattleTech, you Alex. Yeah, no, I always like Lootas. Like the thing for me, like even going back in the day, and the reason why I liked them so much was I found it's not so much a problem now, but I found in previous editions that if you didn't have long range firepower of your own to distract the enemy, that your boys would suffer because they'd concentrate down on them. So that's why I always took Lootas, was every now and then they used to absolutely shoot the bejesus out of something, scare me opponents, and then the next time I play them, they're like, right, the Lootas need to die. It's like, okay, Grant, you've wiped the Lootas off the board, while my boys have been going, la 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 la. Oh, you're not shooting at us. Oh, that's Grant, so that, like, I've always used Lootas as a distraction carnifex, and then if you ignore them, they've always done decent amount of damage. That if you ignore them, you'll get punished. So, I've always had great fun with them. And then, of course, you could always stick in a big mech with a custom force field to supplement the firepower, as Sid was talking about with the big guns, like, you know what I mean? So I've always had great fun with them.
They've got the spanner in there as well, haven't they? You can switch his big shooter out for a KMB or a rocket launcher to add to their
This is the
firepower.
thing now, you have to take the spanner, which sort of breaks my heart somewhat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, you can get a KMB in the unit then, so it's a bit of crack.
Yeah, the only downside with them forcing to have them is obviously those weapons have got a much shorter range, they're half the range. So you're not
away from the unit.
You want them sat far back and then you'll feel like you're wasting them shots a little bit. But
well, yeah, you're always putting them in some sort of vantage point. But the boards are smaller now anyway, so it's it's not as much of a problem as it used to be. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're all playing on 6x4s or 8x4s.
Because it's objective driven, it's kind of forces your enemy to they've got to come out and try and take those midfield objectives as well. So,
and then the bonus is to shooting at people that are on objectives as well comes in handy. So
that reroll hits is pretty good.
Yeah, they're good at clearing the objectives to then get your boys or your Stormboyz in on top or whatever, or your sneaky commandos. You know what I mean? It's like they've got the objective, we'll wipe them off, and hey ho, because they're controlling.
To be fair as well, the Death guns they hit pretty hard.
Yeah,
Mm.
they've also had a bit of a boost to their strength from
Yeah.
that, haven't they?
They've needed to for vehicle stuff.
Yeah.
But strength 7 was always a weird sort of strength anyway.
It's
Yeah,
that sort of strength 7 sort of autocannon was really it was like it was overkill for infantry, but never quite enough to be, you know, the detriment
Yeah.
to really heavy sort of vehicles. You know what I mean? It was always
Yeah.
that 8 would have been better. You know what I mean? But you know, it was all right. You know what I mean?
But
Do
it's
they have
8
a-
now.
It's 8 now. Do they have a grotty type assistant as well? Like, does the mech have anything like that, which will give them a one-off?
No.
You actually?
No,
No.
like none of that. No.
No, I didn't need it. Well,
But
yeah,
this,
I think they're
you're
quite
speaking
good.
to a man who has 3 units of 15 Lootas, which obviously need, like, I need to make what, 9 mechs now? I need to make 9 mechs. Yeah. Okay, you know, I have enough bits to sort it
Nice,
out. But
but-
as
Well,
Yeah, they can still go in units of 15 as well, which is
Yeah,
fucking
12 looters per unit. 3
yeah,
spanners.
yeah. I'm
But
very envious
you
of
can
that.
put mechs in there as well, actual mech characters
Yeah.
to
mechanics, yeah.
lead them. I don't know if it's just any of the mech characters. KFF,
I
Tag
think
Gun,
it is. Yeah, I'm pretty
whatever.
sure it is. Obviously not the big mech in Mega Armor, but yeah, otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much use there'll be actually, because the mechs normally give them like reroll once they
Yeah,
hit.
the big mech will just be the
Standard.
KFF. That's all you'll be benefiting
Yeah,
with
give
him
it to you
from it. But yeah, because they already get that built in, it will feel a little bit like you're wasting the big mech's like
Yeah,
abilities that he grants them.
Exactly what it would feel as.
Mm.
No, they are. I've got 15 of them to in a box. Well, 3 boxes. I realise that's 2. That's the other
We
one.
used to play Apocalypse games, hence why I had 3 units of 15 of them. Like
Yeah.
fucking, yeah. Like
I think
we
I've always
used to.
been. I'll tell you why I haven't even built them. It's because I've always been put off by the horror stories of people saying how hard they are to build and paint.
They're grand.
They're not that
No, they're
bad.
not.
They're just a bit of a
They're
ball
easy
ache to
do.
paint because of the gun going round them, isn't they? I don't think
That's
I don't
grand.
think they're a ball ache to build.
I'll have to
They're
get them
actually
done.
pretty
For
straightforward.
you, they're not going to be a problem. For a lot of the noobs, like the problem is that a lot of people who were new to orcs. This is kind of the like I'm heading slightly towards slight elitism, but what else is new?
Buckle up, viewers.
You're a
But,
fucking mind
like,
reader there.
one of the issues really is when Lootas came out, like they were very meta, they were very popular, and they arrived at a point where orcs were quite good in tournaments. So a load of people who were tournament players and competitive players who wouldn't look at orcs twice got orc armies, and they maxed out Lootas. They'd get like 30 to 45 Lootas, and take like a load of boys and stuff, and they were really quite powerful in fourth. So an awful lot of people
Three
who,
units of that size was too much, though.
if we just say they're not particularly talented hobbyists.
Was it Lootas where you could have like a unit of 15, and if another unit had 15 or 10,
Oh, you could mob up.
That was
mob
what
up,
edition
yeah.
was that?
Mob up
That was
wasn't
9th edition, I
was that
believe.
8? I think it was
you
8.
could do 15. You could do 15 and 10 together, and mob them up into 25.
Yeah,
might-
and
then
mob up was also
you
a
could-
thing in third as well.
And that,
Yeah, it might have been-
I say 8. It could have been 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th as well.
Listen,
But
there's
No,
been
it was
that
it
many
was definitely
editions
Oh,
since I
you
last
Death
looked.
Star. Like an absolute Death Star of a 25 Lootas, just
Yeah.
pointing sort of just.
Yeah, and then they nerfed that pretty quick, didn't they? They said, no, it's just boys. Can't do it nothing else,
Yeah.
just boys. Because
Yeah.
they noticed that everyone was doing it with unit 25 of the fuckers.
You could do it with tank buses as well, but it wasn't
Yeah.
as popular. You know, back when you could have, decent units.
25 tank busters. 3
That,
with
that
fucking
was
buses.
at the point,
Oh.
actually. I think that was at the point when lots of people hadn't realised how good tank busters were, because everyone was had a hard on for looters so much, and it was like,
Oh,
I'll take
many
tank
rockets.
busters, and then
many
slowly but surely
rockets.
people started discovering just how good tank busters were. They're like, holy shit, these are actually really fucking good. They just delete any vehicle on the table.
But yeah, basically in fourth there was a lot of inexperienced people who were A, not new to orcs, and B, not particularly au fait at conversions or more difficult kits, and they collected orcs for the period of time in which orcs were meta, and that's where the reputation largely comes from, because a lot of the orc players, like they don't care. I mean, they are a bit of a faff on to paint if you build them first and then paint them later, but it's
They're
not
alright.
that much of a problem.
They're a little bit of a fat, but they're not too
A
much
bit
of a
of
problem.
fucking ball ache if you have to do them in
they're
the
a
summer
worse-
season. They're
There are
fucking
far worse
annoying.
things.
Paint the
There are
orc,
far worse things, even
paint his
among orcs.
clothes, paint his skin, and then you paint the gun last. Because then, if you get paint on the gun harness, you're just gonna paint over it with the when you're doing the gun, like, you know what I mean?
I'd still just
So-
rather not have to deal with it.
You're talking to a guy who didn't play with painted miniatures for like 3 editions probably. So I well had all mine built long before I painted them. And yes, I was coursing my past self.
I
for
found it
being
annoying
lazy
just with the
git.
shooter boys, just having a gun across the chest. I'm like,
Chest, yeah.
fucking annoying. So fucking death gun on it with a big frame around it. But yeah,
I mean, back in
But-
the days when I used to be in the GW, like I got a lot of experience with some of the kits that have bad reputations, because I was quite well known as a decent builder. So there would be a number of occasions where people would buy a kit in the store and be like, "Can you build this? Because I suck at it." And so I've built like a lot of the really really awful kits. Not all of them are Necrons, but most of them, and just like a lot of weird kits that I wouldn't normally touch. I got quite a lot of practice at building Lootas, and I don't think they're that bad. I
Sid,
think people are making a mountain out of a molehill with the kit. They're a good kit.
Yes.
your next choice, Sid.
Well, I've had 3.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. I've had
Oh.
Boyz, Meg Gun, and Flash Kits. I do
Oh,
have a
bloody
couple
hell.
of honourable mentions. Everybody
Yeah,
else?
let's get into that. I do too, actually. Yeah.
Scar's done 3. Didn't you do your 3? You did.
We've
Deff Dread
all
was the
done
last
our
one.
3, yeah.
Right. Well, I've got 2 honourable mentions. Shall I just do one and then see if anybody else picks it up?
Go for it. Go for it. Throw us
Sure.
your honourable mentions.
I'm going to chuck out me knob.
Well,
Plural. Me knobs. I
He
like
means
knobs.
his
I've
cock.
said it. I love knobs.
that was a
Like,
good knob joke.
nobody to clip that at all. Thank you. No, I think the knobs unit, and one thing I want to try is giving them the combi weapons. I just want to try it. I just want to see what 10 knobs with combi weapons chucking out 20 shots, and yes, it's not great, and it's only strength 4, but the 4-up anti-infantry with devastating wounds means that when you hit, if you hit with any of them, it's 4-up mortal wounds.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
You're not likely to get many hits, though, are you? That's the trouble.
No,
you're not
you're
likely to get any, but I think
But
I
failing
think
that,
that
give 'em out.
loadout
Kill swords
with
and
a
that.
shooty detachment rule in the codex
Yes, yeah.
could
Is
be
there
could
is
be
there a
something
character
quite
that can-
tasty there.
So this might inform what my honourable mention is. So I need to interrogate a little bit. What characters can join the knobs? What characters?
That
can-
is a very, very good question. I mean, obviously, you've got
The-
your Noble War banner, and you've also got the Warboss.
Pretty sure the Big Mech can as well, can't he? Big Mech KFF.
I don't know. But I tell you what, though,
Don't have the card at hand.
I can find out. Nerbs. Here we go.
Can the pain boss is the question I would like to ask.
Not the
Pain
pain
boss,
boss, the pain boy, most likely. Here he
there goes
is.
my honourable mention.
The pain
Is
boy
Nick-
can join a unit of knobs, yes.
I'm
The
more
pain
interested
boy
in the pain
can.
boss.
Can it a Big Mech with KFF?
Yes. So the Big Mech KFF will give them the custom force field and the rerolls of 1.
So there you go. You're getting a reroll
To
of
help
1.
them.
It's hit on 5s, but it's 1 to 2 shots. I mean, they've got a good range as well. 24-inch range. I say it's good. It's better than a shooter. It's not a bad shooting option.
I would argue that every other option the knobs have is better. Slugger chopper, big choppers, power claws.
As I'm saying it, it's not a bad shooting option. It's 10 points more than getting the same number of flash kits.
Yeah.
It's a shit shooting option. I'll withdraw knobs and I'll say Gretchen.
Well, we always like it when you withdraw your knob. It's always such a relief.
Right. No, I
Christ, that's
do
over.
like the knobs. I do. I think they're better for the actual with big choppers, power claws, something like that. But
I'm with you though. I want to do it.
I want to
do it. I think it'll look like
when
a
they bring
cool
out-
looking unit. And
when they bring out the codex, and we've got options for like for want of a better word, the Dakawa and the fucking
Yeah.
Daka tribe and whatever else.
Assuming we get one, but yeah.
Oh,
We will.
Then yeah, there might these combi weapons might come into their own, but at the minute they've taken every single ranged weapon,
Interesting
the
aspect.
combi stuff, and they've just went no shit. And to be fair, Marines, for example, had all the combi weapons with like
every faction suffered the same, and
they went,
who's
no,
got
they're all
combi.
shit as well now.
Yeah,
yeah, they've all got the same rule: anti-infantry 4+. It's fucking terrible.
It's boring.
And flamers and scorchers.
Now, 10 knobs all armed with combi scorchers. Fuck yeah. Or 10 knobs all armed with combi rockets. Fuck yeah. Like there's nothing not to like about that. Yeah, beautiful. But
if the combi weapon had, like, instead of having one shot with rapid fire 1, if it was 4 shots rapid fire 2, the same way as a custom shooter used to be, I'm all over that. Plenty shots, 10 of them, chucking 60 shots.
I just think it would,
but not
them being actual combi weapons where they had the other weapon profile, I think would be fine. And in Legends, there's a good precedent for it. Because what you would do is you just take the same rule that the Grot bomb launcher's got, where you've got this profile, but you get it once. So you get like a decent shooter, and also once per game you've got a scorcher, or you've got a rocket.
I like the way it worked in 8th and 9th, where you could shoot one of them at any time, either the shooter or the rocket, or both of them, and take a minus. And I loved it with Scorchers, because I'm like, well, the Scorchers auto hit, so I'll just take the shooter shots and hitting and 6s as a bonus. It was fucking
but
combi Scorchers were lovely.
That's just not thinking it through. That's it's not a boon. It's just like, it's bad design, but it benefits us. But like,
so not a fan then.
Yeah, but you can't do that. No, but you can't do that anymore.
Why would you have like a combi Scorcher, but you can only use the Scorcher once?
Yeah, but because you could take, because every single mater in the unit can easily get them. I feel like that.
Why is that only you can only use it once?
Because otherwise, like,
you could use it twice.
Well, what I'm thinking is that if you take 10 knobs and then just give them the combi Scorchers, you've just created a better unit, like just a better burner boy unit.
Yes.
No effort whatsoever.
Yes.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is that
That's
I don't so much have a problem with Orcs doing it. And I don't so much have a problem with Orcs doing it. But when we're talking about this, I'm just thinking about applying the same thing to a fucking Space Marine unit. Like, what we get with our combi weapons is that's pretty good. But then the Vanguard bullshit bolters, oh dear. And I think that argument is really hold up, because it's like saying, well, you could use a unit of boys, but if you give a unit of knobs, big choppers, you've just created a unit of boys that are much better with no effort. Right.
So you've paid more, for knobs because they're better than boys. If you pay more for knobs with Scorchers who are better than burners, that to me is the same. You're paying more for a unit which is better. It's virtually the same thing, but better for more points.
Yeah, I'm with
over boys with choppers, or knobs with Scorchers over burner boys.
I mean, it's not game breaking or anything. I just think that's the way that they've made them now is obviously because they don't want a full squad to just go no brainer, take this.
Well, we're not gonna. I'm in agreement with Sid on it. I was on side with Sid on that, but one thing we do agree on is that the new version of combi, shit.
They're shit and they're boring.
But we might be able to get something good out of them when it goes. And just for a modelling opportunity, and in thematic armies like a Bad Moon Orc army, I really like the idea of having 10 knobs all armed with combi weapons. Just getting the biggest custom gun, and it's just going to look. It's just thematically it fits. It's cool. So
they should anyway. There's other ways that they can balance that. By the way, that was just one idea I had. The other idea is that you go, right, okay, well, if you're taking your two-handed slugger, you can't use choppers, so here's a shitty dagger profile. So you're slightly worse in combat, but you're way better in shooting. And just do it that way. But
that's what they've done.
Yeah. So
You've got your close combat weapon or your chopper.
Yeah. But I'm kind of disappointed because what I was going to say was because I really like the potential for the knob kit because, again, it's another unit we've got with a lot of options.
It's a lovely kit. It is a lovely kit.
It's a great kit. And I was hoping, like, I'm still kind of bewildered. They just won't touch fucking cyborgs. And, like, just want cyborg back so much. And, like, there's an easy backdoor way to do it because all you do is you basically give the cyborg effect to the fucking pain boss, right? And then you just let the pain boss go into the knob squad. And so gamers get their little fucking benefit, and all of the fucking orc players who are going to make their own cyborgs, they've got the excuse because they've got the rule.
I think we'll explore this further in future videos, won't we? Because I think we've all got ideas for new units and existing units and things that we'd like to see, you know, in the future. So I think we will revisit that idea about some old favorites coming back and new things coming in. And I've got an honorable mention that was very close to being one of my proper picks, actually, is Gretchen.
Yep.
Gretchen were fantastic before, being 30 points, being lovely and cheap and brilliant, and we had lots of options. They had a downside, though, that the Runt was stupidly overpriced for 2 whole editions and basically just pointless. And then they went up to 50 points, which we all agreed was just far too much. They haven't come down to 30.
The rules crap as well, just to make sure.
But they've come down to 45 points, is it now, Sid?
40.
40 points, yeah.
40.
So, yeah, I think they were 45 at the start of 10th, weren't they? Yeah, so I saw it as basically Grot's coming down to 4 points each and the Runt being 5 points, which is just around right, I think.
But no, well, Grot's are 40 points each.
But yeah, now they're...
free.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I was saying at the beginning of 10th, they were 45
the beginning,
points.
Yeah, sorry, beg pardon.
And now it's like basically, well, we could say Grots are 3 points each, and then you pay 10 points for a Runt, which I think feels just about right, the sweet spot.
That's what you used to do. It was
exactly. So
the Runt is essentially a knob.
Yes,
it was 120 points for 30 Gretchen in 4th ed.
So much to be happy about on this one, Dim. They are now back at the sweet spot of points, and Runt are usable again. And Grots, I think, are a real shining star of this edition and this index because they have, again, lovely, fluffy, fun rules in there with the thieving scavengers rule, meaning that they can they're going to loot and they're going to steal and they're going to grab and they're going to claim shit. And I like that. And it works in game terms as a really nice way to give you the opportunity to gain some extra CP for the stratagems, which is always going to be useful and always welcome. More CP is good. And they've done a lot to correct the sins of previous editions because Grots now, there is no limitations now. You can use stratagems on Grot units unless the card says you can't. And that's lovely. And not just the Gretchen, but like all Grot units.
They waited for the clan rules to go so that they could...
Well, I knew you'd find some fly in the ointment, but look, it's... Max
unit size 20. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me sad.
Yeah, but guys, this isn't a video where we talk about what we hate. It's a video where we talk about what we love.
Keeps you sad, not
We'll focus on the positives.
Bleeding sick of them and their positivity. How bleeding dare they?
And yeah, Sid, what were you saying about the Runt though? Like in terms of like his stat line and abilities and that.
He's a knob, isn't he? I mean, he's essentially a knob.
You know him yourself, do you?
without the gear. Although he does have a he's got the Grot smacker.
Yeah.
Which is essentially just a whatever, that's like a big shooter, isn't it? It's three shots of strength 5 with no AP.
Yeah, it's like it's not as good as having a chopper.
Well, no, it's not as good as because he's got the strength of 5. No, it's basically like the In fact, isn't it just a close combat option? You know, for an orc that wasn't got a chopper. It's just
it's a close combat weapon with 3 attacks, basically.
it looks fantastic. So it's next to a Grot's sort of combat profile. But look, for 40 points for the 10 Grots with the special rule, for the objective securing, for the CP farming, the run to just means they won't be totally sort of brushed away in combat. I did have a game with Grots where I had a unit of 20, which comes with 2 Runtherds, led by a special named character.
Zodgrod.
Zodgrod himself, who gives them a little bit extra sort of scout moves and -1 to wound and +1 to hit. Makes them quite, that's a fella. Makes them, you know, a bit better. I mean, I'm not going to say makes them amazing because
Essex fucked up my shooter boys with that exact unit. He fucked them up.
But when I used them, I was playing the Pale Orc, and he killed to a man to a Grot, every single Grot in that unit. Left Zodgrod with the 2 Runtherds. So we decided that unit then had a toughness of 5.
Yeah.
Since all the toughness 2 models had been killed. And they were like a little special ops commando unit that just started running around the backfield, just sort of like taking out, admittedly, 5-man units of like Stormboyz and stuff. Like, fuck off, yeah. Toughness 5, -1, you can't kill us.
That's perfect, because that's actually really fluffy as well. Because if all of his Grots had died, him and his Runtherds probably going to be going to a fucking rage, aren't they? And sort of like, you know, go Super Saiyan on everyone. So yeah,
some of them all weak. But yeah, I do like the units.
And he buffs the unit. He makes the super Grots, doesn't he? So he buffs up their strength and everything, and they benefit from the Waaaaaaaaagghh.
They get a +1 to hit.
Yeah.
They get a -1 to wound, which is toughness 3. I think a Grot is a +3. I just go back down to 2.
They are the close combat is strength 2. Yeah.
2, I just said it. Yeah. So, but still -1 to wound. So you know, it stops people wound on 2s, which is what they normally do. I don't know about their +1 to wound. I don't know if it does that, but one of the
they get that in the Waaaaaaagghh because they benefit again. Another thing, they never used to benefit from all that shit, but they benefit from the Waaaaaaagghh and well, they did. It was just stratagems and clan traits on it, but no.
Sorry, they do get +1 to hit and +1 to wound if Zodgrod's leading them.
Yes,
they'll get the extra attack and the invul
and the strength and that, yeah,
and the strength.
And being able to advance and charge and all that good shit.
Things with Zodgrod is so he gives them the scout 9-inch ability. So at the start of the game, like a pre-game move, you can move 9 inches, and that just gets you onto another objective. So at the start of the game, with 2 units of Grots, one with Zodgrod, you can essentially be holding your objective in your backfield and a mid-board objective as well. So you can have that. Like,
I had a unit of
very useful.
I had a unit of shooter boys with a weird boy in, so not a bad little unit. He did soften them up with some looters first, I think, but Zodgrod and the Grots charged into him and just fucking minced them. Like, just fucking minced them. And I was like, motherfucker. And because he had that fucking scout move at the start of the game, I set up Bang with his big shooters. I thought, there's a target. He'll actually do something against these big shooters. Now's your time, Bang. He fucking did run him off to round the corner and hid, didn't he, before the game started? Like, motherfucker.
But even if you were to start Zodgrod in a unit of, say, 10 Grots in a truck, the dedicated transport gets the scout move as well. So that'll have the scout of 9. So you can just boom, that truck's up the board straight away. So you can keep them trucked up, like we were saying earlier, in a vehicle, a bit more survivability. So you can do that, or you could just use it then to ferry them around, or, you know.
Does that work?
It does with the dedicated transport. It gets scout ability. Yeah, that was one of the things that people mentioned right at the start.
Lovely.
It's not like a shooting rule where you don't get the abilities of the character, or I say auras, it's not really auras, but the scout rule passes on to, I think it might just be dedicated transports. It might it works for, say, 20 Grots and Zodgrod in a battle wagon, but they'll work in a truck.
That's cool. That's cool. Anyone else got any honourable mentions?
Ork Warboss because they're cool and quick
Yeah,
and they're flying trucks. What's not to love? Quick guns. Yep. And
Flying
What's better than a truck?
Good.
A truck that flies. There you go.
Yeah.
We've not mentioned Mega Knobs.
Mega Knobs are awesome.
They are good, but we haven't mentioned them, so no talking about them.
we
We can't just go through the fucking codex.
could just talk about
Yeah.
every unit, but it'll be a very long fucking video.
Yeah.
I just picked a few.
Oh,
of my
what about
favourites.
burner bombers? Oh, I like burner
Yeah.
bombers.
And
I like
Dim's here, so we won't touch on any of the tank busters and the the darker side of the
I think we've
codex
got a
and
few
data
things to
cards.
say about that, to be fair.
Maybe that'll be in the next episode. Data cards we fucking hate. Your time to shine, Dim.
Most of them.
Hey! But I do like that you have the Runtherds back in on the Grots now because I have a shitload of Rebel Grots and I don't have any of the Runtherds made, but I'm just like, oh, well, just stick a Grot in a commissar jacket with a cap and there you go, there's your Runtherd, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's also a shame they're not battle line. Be nice if they're battle line.
I'll give you that, yeah.
Yeah, like, well, I'm just kind of annoyed about I mean,
Everything.
yeah, well, just the maximum 20 just feels wrong. Like, it just
Don't get me started.
one of the purest joys I used to have was taking 4 units of 30 Gretchen.
Yeah, it was good.
In a battle, and it was just like I could fit them into 1,500 points, and because they were my core troops, particularly in 4th and like 5th and stuff, people could not ignore the Grots. There were far too many models, and yes, their profile was shit, but a whole lot of diddly applies. Right, there's lots of them, and then because it was like 120 points a squad, so my 4 units was less than a third of my army. All of those points could go on toys.
Lots of points for toys, yeah. And there's an even better argument for Grots than Boyz even, because they still come on little 25mm bases. So it's not unfeasible to be able to fit a unit of 30 on these smaller boards, and the way the game is now.
Until they redo them and put them
I
on
think it was
32s.
still, but well, we won't talk about Zodgrod's absurd base. Oh, it's fucking massive.
They're all going on it. They're all going on it.
Hey!
Well,
It's
they are if Dread's basing them.
Look at that. It is. It's like Dread's based him, isn't it? Yeah. It just doesn't have the girth.
I mean, I must say,
You know.
I have had an idea, and I may do it.
Do it. Don't spoil it. Do it. Film it. Get a video. Speaking of hobby, now we've covered this week's topic. What is everyone up to, like hobby-wise or channel-wise?
Well, I've got this fella to de-Christmasify.
Or another unit that can buff your Grots. He's got some quite fun rules.
Yeah, I'm working on something
Spatulas.
special with these guys. Yeah, they do look like spatulas.
I'm taking the paper.
I mean, I showed this like
Maybe you're telling us you were starting stripping.
yeah.
We
We need a stripper.
The walls.
That was a niche reference. But yeah, and I've got these tracks. Basically, I'm thinking about making a Death Killer War Trike Grot tank.
Oh, nice.
Love it. Awesome. Scar, what were you holding up there? You can't hold all that up and not talk about what you just showed off there.
Stormboyz! I have a metric ton of Stormboyz. These all need to be cut off of their bases. I'm sure I'll rebase them, but they're all going on smoke plumes. In fact, I'm
Nice.
sure Stormboyz here. That's 15.
Smoke plumes have to be done.
That's-
It's way too cool to not.
That's 25. I need another 5 Stormboyz. I'm short 5 Stormboyz, but that's a big part of the project. There's that. There's Commandos. There's 2 trucks that need to be converted into Ork Warboss. Yes.
It's gonna be, and this is you're doing this because this is your your list you're working on for the league that we're going to be doing soon.
Yeah, it's my themed army for the league. So whether it's good or not is another thing, but it'll look cool at least.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, isn't it? That's
Yeah, really cool, man.
I think,
Taste
but I
it because
think
you like
I
it,
think a
man.
happy accident is actually going to be quite a strong list as well.
Look, fucking, we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be good. But it's got me cautious.
The flight of the
Robert
flight
Snow.
of the ApORKalypse.
Yeah.
Ork Apocalypse now, isn't that it? Yeah.
Well, I'm working on Deff Dread, as I've shown off on the camera already. I'm really trying to crack out the painting. The videos for both these guys, for Crash and Wallop, have been up because I really want. If I fail, I'll be bringing Snap, Crackle, and Pop. If I succeed, I'll be bringing these three in my list, just because I want to use them, and I think it'll be fun. So I don't know if Wallop will be able to smack any of your Stormboyz out of the sky, but yeah, Crash could have some fun firing them fucking rockets into him. But yeah, I want to get them done. I'm also working on the trophy for the event that I'll get mounted on a mount soon and get that done. So we've got a trophy for the winner, which I'll look forward to bringing back home with me. And I've got lots of other stuff that I'm working on. I need to do some Runtherds. I need to do some Runtherds for the because I likewise didn't bother painting them because they were pointless, and I thought I won't waste my time painting something I'm never going to use. But now I need them, so I've got I want to do something with the Runtherds and get them done. Sid, what about you?
I've just put a video out with the Beast Snaggery Stormboyz.
I haven't watched it yet because it's only come out tonight, but
It
it's
literally
I've
was
saved it
just
to my watch
postcards,
list.
Yeah. I've also got some Grot tanks which I've been doing. Half a dozen Grot tanks which I've built. I'm going to do a video on them at this unpainted stage before I actually get them painted. I'll get the vid out first, and then I think I might immediately switch focus to something else. And what I want to do is the final for now piece for the feral army list is a truck. I want to do like a Beast Snaggery themed truck.
Yeah.
So I've got some of the bits and bobs for it, and I think it'll be quite cool. Just it's going to basically be pulled by a team of bosses instead of an engine. Feral truck.
Tidy. Well, all the stuff you create, everyone looks forward to seeing it because it just keep smashing them out of the fucking ballpark time and time. And I've got to say, Sid, like the shit you've been showing, this shit like that motivates me to make the stuff I make and do it. And Dread as well. He's not here tonight. He's still having issues in the warp. It still hasn't spat him back out yet after last week's episode, but he's been making cracking progress on his stuff. He's been chipping away every single night, and he's Dread's like me. He's quite slow at doing it, but the quality is lovely paint job. And Scar, I've seen the shit you produce before, and and I know that when you get down to it, you're actually quite quick. And like last time you turned up with them Rebel Grots, and just everyone was eyeing them up. They're fucking lovely.
Oh yeah.
And Dim's just the wild card because I just can't wait to see what it brings, because I know he's whatever we're expecting, he's going to do something wild and wacky, and it's just going to be mental and stupid and crazy in all the right ways. And I
Clint's been hammering out some stuff as well. He's working on a few things we didn't mention earlier. Look, we kind of just did now, I suppose. But you'll have to rewind back and watch it again.
You let the cat out of the bag. I kept the identity of the boss secret
by mentioning everybody else.
Sorry, Essex. Nothing personal. Essex has been working on. Yeah, he's pretty good too. He's working on some awesome stuff, and he's been working on that big battle barge, isn't he?
Yeah.
That fucking awesome. Just and the top secret things he's working on that he's be showcasing, no doubt, very, very soon.
Really made me fucking lonely, by the way, you bastards. That Sid and Clint get an exception from that, right? But like, I got my iron squig off done, and I had to sit it next to a fucking Mad Max 18-wheeler, huge fucking truck.
Yeah.
And Sid's just ridiculous fucking.
And
rock
everyone
stage.
universally agreed that all 3 of those entries were fucking
To be
awesome.
fair, yeah.
They were brilliant. You
Mine
got
was,
some votes.
Mine was okay. Mine was okay. The
No,
other two were out
I
of this
think
fucking
you're
world.
doing yourself, and I get it, because the stuff Sid and Essex mate is just
Ridiculous.
on another level. And I felt the same thing when we did the Squig Buggy challenge. I'm like, shit, it's so stiff. But that's what I mean. I think it pushes us all further, and I think it's fantastic. It's inspiring. But your Squig Off is just awesome.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
It certainly
love
did
it.
help push Dim further, but the rest of you fucking ran away. Right? He stepped up to the mark and he put something out, which is phenomenal.
I put something out.
Oh, fucking hell. Get in a box of
Part of
Quality
a
Street.
thing.
Get in a box of Quality Street.
Oh, here's me bits box. He didn't even have any decency, have any
Then you couldn't
prelim
even
fucking
identify
triangles.
Oh.
I painted some mechs green. That's where I got fucking distracted. All right, I'll be honest.
I gave an awesome conversion. Just happened to be in kit form. That's all. Yeah. Thank God for Blue Tack. But no, do you know what? Actually, in regards to that, I will revisit that. It's not finished, as you all saw. I can never claim that it was finished. But since I've started doing some bits with Plasticard and that on this fella and a little bit on the other one, and I've got more Plasticard now. I feel more confident working with it now, and I've had some. So I think I will revisit that now and be more confident in making some Plasticard
trust me, you
turrets.
can't
and
really go
things.
wrong with Plasticard because I fucking suck with it and I still managed to make it look okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I look
but I'm
forward to
fucking
hearing all
terrible.
about it, Steve-O, when my grandkids come to the home and explain to us.
Sid,
Oh,
Don't get us wrong. Don't get us wrong.
I say this with all
For the
due
next 2
respect,
years,
Sid.
I just know LB.
I say this with all due respect, Sid. Fuck you. Fuck you and your
To be
highly
fair, mate.
productive, efficient output.
To be fair, mate, that doesn't mean that's going to be a long time away. I've just got a fair assessment of the future.
This is
Don't
true,
worry.
actually. This is true. But yeah, I don't know what we're coming back at you next week with, guys. I'll be editing this one, so hopefully it'll be up in time for you. We've had a few comments from some of our regular viewers that we're not very good at promoting our videos. Let me just say, we've stuck to it very well at the moment. we stuck to it very well. If you're ever in any doubt when the videos are, Warboss
Sunday.
show, 9 o'clock Sunday.
Yeah.
But I will try and get this. Hopefully you've been seeing this up premiere from Saturday, so you've got like 24 hours notice, hopefully.
Greenwich Mean Time for our foreign viewers. Greenwich
Yeah,
Mean Time,
that's
9 o'clock.
But look, if you miss it live, if you miss the premiere, no worries. You can just watch the rerun and still comment and, enjoy the show and get on with some painting while you listen to us waffle on and chat.
Yeah,
about
I was going to
stuff.
say the premiere doesn't add a whole lot more, does it? It's just like
It just means you can interact with some of us and we're there chin wagging and, you can basically, it gives you a great opportunity to take the piss out of us and see our reactions in the comment section straight away. So have at it, which is always fun. But yeah, other than that, I think it's probably time to bring this one to a close. So, right, let's say our goodbyes. We'll try and get them structured this time. Dim.
Bye.
Scar.
Don't forget to drill your barrels.
Sid.
Bye now. Take care.
And this is 6+ Steve-O signing out.